It's out of whack.
It's totally smashed in.
This core support piece got a big gap.
We'll see what this thing can do.
What's up, man? I need to be able to get this bike in the back of this truck.
There ain't no way you can do that safely. We can make it happen by building you a custom air suspension trailer.
This is actually my first one to build, so no pressure.
That is awesome, bro.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
For the most part, we do client builds here at Extensive. But I've been looking for a nice project to build a Baja truck out of, maybe even make a few. You got to start by buying it really, really low. My buddy Dave says he's got a truck for me that I have to come see. What's up, man?
Hey, how you doing, Bill? Good to see you.
Dave deals in vehicles that he buys at auctions. Most are ready to drive off the lot. Some are just a little bit more than parts. When buying a vehicle like this, you have to do your due diligence. This it?
Yeah, that's it. It's hurt.
Does look a little hurt.
Yeah, it got hit hard.
Hard.
You wasn't playing.
What happened with this truck?
They don't tell me what happened at the auction, but it just got wrecked. It's got low miles, though. Real low miles.
What's real low miles?
633.
Oh, man.
Good rear end, good motor, transmission.
Man, it looks good for parts.
Man, it's still got the new car smell.
Oh, yeah, she's new.
Just don't got new car look.
Man, this interior is so new, we don't even have to do anything to it.
You know, I was going to go ahead and salvage it, use the motor and transmission in one of my trucks.
Oh, no, man. We can put this thing back together.
You think so?
This 2017 F-150 rolled off the factory floor with a 5.0-liter Coyote V8 engine. It's the perfect starting platform for what I want to build. Man, you can see the bed still straight with the cab. There's nothing wrong with the back of the frame. It's just the front. Man, I'm seeing making this thing into a Baja truck.
A Baja truck?
We can jump it.
Jump it.
Yeah, man.
Man, this thing is missing a lot, Bill.
Well, that's where you come in, buddy.
Bill's not the kind of guy to scare easy. And seriously, I don't think there's anything he can't build. But this one needs a ton of parts and fixes. And on our dollar, that's what really scares me. Man, I didn't know we were picking it up to build. I thought this was parts.
Yeah, that's what I admire a lot about Bill. He always sees things that other people don't. It is brand new, Bill, but it's in pretty bad shape.
That means it's cheap for me, right?
Yeah, we can run a special. We always do.
Man, we're going to get it running. And you can come check it out, man. You can be there when it happens.
I'd like to be there. Let me know.
I trust you, but do you really want to take this pile home?
Come on, man, of course. Yep. Most of the time, you should just strip a truck like this for parts, but I've been doing this a long time. You see the right truck? It's endless possibilities. We're going to turn a pile of bent-up crap into something that's going to be really cool, man. I've been wanting to build a Baja pre-runner style truck for a while. Street legal truck, you can race and jump. This truck is a perfect thing. We gotta launch it.
By launch?
So,
how high are you talking?
man, at least this high. Yup. You know, Baja truck is just made to take any terrain it can possibly go through. Sand, mud, gravel. That's what a truck like this is built for. Just the aggressive stance. You look at it, it just looks pissed off. It's in bad shape. I mean, you see, that's immediately what you see. To me, half of it's here. That's a head start. What better way to get a truck like this, very little money, and turn it into something really cool and able to jump up into the air.
Well, Timmy, here she is.
What are we doing with this? Taking motor out, trans out, wheels, tires off. A couple of doors look good.
Come on, man. We're gonna build a Baja truck
Out of this.
out of this. The truck is brand new. And on this, we're going to have a little bit higher ground clearance in the front than the rear to go off-road, to jump things, and still be able to drive it on the street every day. Big wide fenders to go along with those suspensions, so the control arms and everything have to be really long to be able to jump. Wide bedsides in the back just for that aggressive look. Bed cage in the back, big huge shocks. We're going to give this thing a second life, and even better than it ever rolled off the assembly line. Spares in the back. We want the whole Baja look. I'm going to drive it around. Who knows, somebody might need it in their life.
So you're going to drive like Bill, and we're going to drive it to the max. Anything we fix after that is roadworthy 100%, because you drive,
hell yeah,
200% worse than anybody I know. Or nothing breaks, we'll just keep it as a shop truck.
Take it to lunch every day.
Lunch, Bill's credit card for gas.
No?
I'll sell it then.
He thinks he's going to sell it when he finishes it? I'll believe it when I see it.
Looking at this truck, you can tell it got hit really hard in the front passenger side, and it's obvious we're going to replace body panels. But man, we need to tear this thing down and see what kind of frame damage there is. The back's good. I don't have any concern at all with this. Let's get the front of this thing all tore apart.
Front end looks a little bit jacked up. You wouldn't even call it a front end.
It's like somebody had already started repairing it. I seen it all wrapped up. Now I see it got hit way harder than I thought it did. Man, the whole throttle body's missing.
Probably gonna need a new one anyways. Get some power.
Well, let's get it tore apart, man. Let's see what else. Let's see what else we need. Dang. You see the little charcoal canister is totally busted. The deep gouge in the cross member, gouge in the transmission pan. The front of the frame is totally out of whack. You can tell somebody's already tried to repair it. I'm nervous about how the uncompleted repair job is done. Hopefully from the point they repaired back is all good. But we won't know anything until we run the string line and go from there. We're going old school to measure the straightness of the frame. Plumb bob's just a tool of just knowing if you have a straight line or not. Sometimes you don't have a point you can just run a tape measure right off of. So if you drop a plumb bob, which is just a weighted string, that gives you a perfectly level string to measure off of. So you can measure from each side of the frame to the plumb bob to know if you're perfectly center on that. If it lines up with your horizontal string, you know you're
off by an eighth.
At the same time, we'll level this thing. So the level will tell us if it's out of whack this way, and the string line will tell us if everything's completely straight that way.
It go up a little bit on the passenger side. Pretty good. Check out that front. Aha, it's out of whack.
Make it level. Let me see how far off it is. The front end is definitely tweaked a little bit. It's a little off center. We want this thing to drive perfectly straight down the road. We want everything 100% in line, no alignment issues. We don't want it pulling off to one side or another. We're going to be abusing this thing. Well, I am. We're going to put it to the test. So I want to make sure everything's going to hold up to what we're going to throw at it. We need to do on the F-150 is repair the frame. It's not just the damage from the accident, but the bad repair job. Elu's going to cut that out. We're going to start all over. Down. All right, perfect. Elu's got all this cut loose. It lines up perfect with our string line. Plumb bob is 100%. It's perfectly level. The last step is just weld this thing up. Man, Lulu, that looks real good, man. Can't even tell anything ever even happened to it. It just not the frame needs to be fixed, but the whole passenger side core support was damaged in the accident. So Rudy's going to pull off the bad piece and install a new one.
This F-150 has been in a real bad accident. So what we found was this core support piece, it should be nice and straight here and then curve out. But as you can tell, if we put a straight edge here on the straight part, we got a big gap here. So a little gap here is going to create an even bigger gap here on the end. So we're going to go ahead and pull this piece out, bring in a new piece. It's nice and straight. And that way, when our fenders go on, they should bolt up nice and perfect. So the core support is the structural frame of the front end. Our headlights, radiator, grill, bumper, all that bolts up. It needs to be nice and straight for everything to fit perfectly. We got our new core support fender piece in. As you can see, this one's nice and straight. So we'll go ahead and bolt it all up. After that, we'll be good to go.
As much as anything else, I think we're in the problem-solving business. And today, Chad and Melinda, they got a good one for us. They own a local bar and restaurant, and they build their own custom bikes, and they paint everything orange. I mean, everything. What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Good, man.
Known Bill for about 15 years. One of the first trucks that I ever worked on. Bill did the air ride suspension on it for me.
What you got here? This new one you built?
Yeah, we got it done not too long ago. It's a 08 Road King that we built. Put the 30-inch front wheel on it, fully bagged it out. Of course, our orange color on it.
Man, it looks good.
Thank you. But we're having a little issue. I need to be able to get this bike in the back of this truck. So I need to come up with some type of ramp system, some kind of mechanism that'll fold out, something.
Man, come on. You can't be... There ain't no way you could do that safely.
Got to figure out a way to get it hauled or
Some air suspension trailer that it can drop completely flat on the ground. You can ride this bike right up on it, strap it down, easy and safe.
A custom trailer. That sounds expensive.
What's expensive is dropping this off of a ramp coming out of the back of this truck or hurting yourself.
Bill's vision is just different than anybody else's. When it comes to metalwork, he's a true artist. My thing is, of course, is go with the orange theme. Everything's got to match.
Hell yeah, we can powder coat it orange, no problem. Put some black wheels on it, make everything flow and match and look totally custom.
You good with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool, man. Let's go right up. Let's get you going, man. You can't be having no ramp. Come on.
All right, let's do it.
In 2000, I had an idea for an air suspension motorcycle trailer that is set completely flat on the ground. Had a bike, didn't have a truck at the time, so problem solved, air suspension trailer.
A lot of people just see a steel rack, but when you have a steel rack, it's endless possibilities of what you can build.
Anybody that's ever put a motorcycle in back of a truck, they know how sketchy it is and how dangerous and how much it's going to cost. And this just solves all the problems, just makes it super easy. Ride the bike right up on it, strap it down, air it up, and you're on your way.
Jamie's one of our best fabricators and a biker himself, so he's going to help me build this trailer.
Thanks, man.
Each and every one of these trailers start out on the same template, but we customize each one depending on the style and size of the bike. And this one, it's got to be orange.
So there's a lot of tube on this trailer. It's probably about maybe close to 60 foot. It needs to be pretty strong to hold up his bike. It's a pretty heavy bike. So everything needs to be cut exactly. There's a lot of angles on this trailer. If I get one of them wrong, it could look crooked. It could not be the same on each side. I need to ditto each side and make everything perfect to the jig. So it's real important all my cuts fit nicely. This is actually my first one to build, so no pressure.
Me and Jamie worked late into the night to make this custom trailer for Chad and Melinda. The frame is mostly welded up. Now it's time for the airbags.
Jamie cut one of two suspension links, so we're going to put this bar through it, and then it's going to pivot on the bolt. This is actually going to be the suspension to the trailer. So you see there's no traditional trailer axle going all the way through it. The spindle of the wheel is going to be right here mounted. We're going to trim it all down so the fender will weld right to it, but that's it. When this thing's all done, it's going to be years and years of trouble-free towing.
There you go, ma'am.
Hell yeah. Tack it. All right, cool. Hell yeah. This is the same basic system we use on our cars and our trucks. And you can see when you put air in this, as soon as you hit a switch, the valve opens, air goes right into the bag, lifts the arm up, trailer raises. So that's basically the whole suspension in this thing. Now to fit the big wheels. Up there, a few quick measurements, start wrapping it up. You know, we don't have a fixture for this, so every one of these are custom to the wheel, the tire, everything varies on this. So we build everything one off. You see the links we go to make sure everything looks 100% straight. Jump up, measure that real quick. Nobody's going to notice if it's 100% perfect, but they're damn sure going to notice if it's crooked.
Man, that's perfect.
That's what I'm talking about. Now that the frame is straight, we're going to install a long travel suspension on this F-150, which is specially designed for the pre-runners.
Knowing Bill, I know he's going to drive this out of this thing. So these control arms need to be long, strong, and sturdy, which they are. Be perfect for giving us that suspension travel to make sure we don't roll this thing over. It's the last thing this truck wants to do. We're installing the coilovers and shock. A coilover is a shock and spring compacted into one unit. This allows adjustment for no purpose. Of course, Bill's gonna go with the biggest shock he can. He needs the biggest shock to have the softest landing. Push it down at the same time. The shocks keep the truck from bouncing, so it sticks to the road better, no matter how bumpy the road gets. We got our whole setup here installed. Our spindle, our lower control arm, upper control arm, our coilovers, and our shocks. Our wheel is going to stick out pretty far out from the body due to our longer control arms. Give us a little bit more travel on our suspension. As much travel as we can get, the better for us.
Now, Elu and Rudy are installing the brakes. This thing is going to take a beating. It's very important to have super strong stainless steel brake lines.
We don't want the line getting kinked up or ripped up, because if the brake line breaks loose, gets cut, this thing ain't stopping. We really need this brake line to work.
Elu is installing the limiting strap. The limiting strap keeps the suspension all nice and tight, so when you leave the ground, it just won't overextend and get all in a bind.
Now that I have all the limited strap mounted and the brake line mounted, well, the next step is to mount these reservoirs that are just hanging out right now, but we're going to fasten them down for whenever he's up in the air, they won't be all over the place.
That's in. That's perfect.
The frame on this F-150 is good as new. To turn this thing into a pre-runner, we're going to add some reinforcements. I mean, 4,000-pound truck landing nose first, it's going to take a beating. So we want to build a brace goes from tower to tower. So when we jump this thing, the towers just don't fold in. They're so tall. And that's a ton of leverage coming down.
Sounds good.
We'll roll a piece an inch and a half, schedule 80, something real heavy. So then we'll bend it so it gives a nice little contour, little style to it. All right, man. Get my little notepad out here. Got 9 and 7/8. I'll roll it and we'll just lay it out on the table. I just want a little bit of.
More, you try that thing.
No, that's good. Just don't want it straight. Want a little style to it. But going going off the little quick, simple sketch and the measurements and took off the truck and just transferring it over onto a piece of paper so it's actual size. Set my angle on the old computer here. As long as I transferred my measurements to my paper correct, it should fit perfect. First time. Should. This machine uses a hydraulic piston to force a precise bend into our pipes.
I say that's it.
Now we just gotta cut it. We got our marks. Next step, chop it up, put it on. Think it's gonna fit, Lulu?
We find out in a minute. We set it down.
Man, that'll work. You know, this being bent so much, it makes it weak here. When you bend a pipe, it weakens it a little, so I'm gonna double it up and make this thing super strong. Let's bend one more. We'll kind of lean them apart and we'll have extra strength, man, for jumping.
Oh yeah, it'll be a lot stronger.
That's it, man. That looks good. Let's tack it. Man, that thing's gonna be super strong, Lulu. That's never gonna fold up on us. Right in the middle of this, man, to hold all this together, it'll be pretty tight. The engine brace for the F-150 is almost ready. Rudy's burning out a plate so we can tie this thing all together. It's gonna be super strong.
Go ahead and hand it off to Bill. You can go ahead and weld it on the Baja truck.
Ooh.
How's that look?
Man, that looks good, Rudy. Tack this thing in. We're just gonna pull this thing off, take it over the table, weld it up. This is one of the things that nobody's ever gonna see, but I know it's there. Every part and piece of this is done right. And that's how we did it. All welded up, ready to go to the powder coater. Because we're turning this truck into a Baja style pre-runner, it has longer front suspension. It's gonna make the wheels stick out farther than the factory fender wells. So I'm having Charlie and Fernando modify the fenders and the bedsides to make this thing all fit.
Being that Bill wants to jump this thing, we need to make sure we've got a ton of clearance in here, so that way that when he does jump, there is clearance and the tires don't hit the inner wheel wells and he doesn't have a problem with that. So the first thing we're gonna do here is we're gonna drill out all the rivets that they have in here holding this out, and then we'll remove this outer shell, and then once we remove that, we'll trim it all off, and we'll use a piece of this to actually keep it extended out, and then we'll build our own wheel well and make it all uniform. This piece is already all mocked in of where we think we want it at, and so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring the fiberglass bedside in and double check everything, check our measurements, make sure they're all good to go so we can continue on with the rest of the form of the fender weld. Looking in here, you can see how we made everything mount to the factory edge, so when you look at it all in one piece, it just, everything flows in like if it was made that way. You know, once we get it all mounted and attached to there, you ain't gonna know that we ever even did this. Where's it going? All right, thanks guys, appreciate it, man.
Charlie's laying out the fiberglass mat to mend this thing all together. It's gonna be super strong and super light. Fernando is filling in all the little cracks and crevices with body filler, so it's gonna be... And we just got this thing back from powder coat. Everything looks good as it always does. Chad is gonna be ecstatic. It matches with everything in his collection. So just gonna put everything in this tongue box. All the essentials to make this thing work is all right here. Cool, what we got so far, obviously the battery, air compressor, and 3 sets of valves. So we have a valve for the tongue, a valve for the left, a valve for the right. No matter what the load is, if it's offset load, you can add a little more pressure to the left.
Or if you got a little more weight on the right, you add a little more pressure to the right. Ready for that tank. Yeah. Cool, we got everything mounted in place. Only thing left to do is just wiring and run some lines. That's it. Every Sunday. They're going to be showing up here any minute to his new bar, so I figure what better place to give him his trailer.
Wow. Look at that.
That's freaking awesome. Man, damn, bro, that's freaking sick. I didn't even imagine this, bro. That's over the top.
So good.
That is insane.
So you got to have that orange bike, I know.
Man, you know, I wouldn't accept it if it wasn't. So it's perfect.
It's full air suspension. Of course, you know, it has 3 bags. It has a bag on each wheel and a bag on the tongue. So you can leave this thing hooked up to any vehicle and drop this thing completely flat. So it's super stable. You know, you ride your bike right up on it, strap it down, air it up, you're good to go.
It doesn't get much better than that, bro.
Yeah, man.
When we talked about doing something like this, that's why we went to Bill. You know, I knew he'd come up with something that would work perfect for us, and just the fact that he can, you know, build something out of nothing is amazing.
Check it out. Let me show you how to work this thing.
Yeah, let's check this thing out.
Everything's inside here. All the switches. You see the tank, compressor, valving, everything is all in here. Hit the 2 switches, air the back up.
That's freaking awesome. That is awesome, bro. Man, that's insane. Oh, when Bill hit the switches, I mean, that was really cool.
Yeah.
For it to be 3 different bags, 3 different switches, you know, all fully adjustable, to be able to work behind any vehicle that we pull it behind is going to be really cool. Definitely feel safe putting my bike on it. And the last thing to see is how it fits on the trailer.
Yeah, hopefully it fits.
There you go.
Wow.
Man, that's insane.
Man, when Chad rode that bike up on the trailer, it's obvious it's 100% package complete now.
Perfect match.
Bro, that's
That
insane.
looks really good.
Man, this is way better than ramps, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
And cooler.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Definitely cooler. It definitely flows.
Flip this
That's
thing up,
awesome.
man. See how it picks it up.
8 voyage.
Oh, wow.
That is
So glad you got that.
Ready to go.
Yeah, this looks really good. The bike, the trailer, the truck. You did a fantastic job.
That's awesome, bro.
I am so happy that we had Bill build this for us. It just looks amazing, and I'm super excited to get it out on the road.
Now that the front suspension's all installed on the Baja, it's time to get that rear end in.
But I'm just hanging off the back. Make sure the truck don't go forward. Good?
Oh, we got to remove the factory leaf springs, but everything's in the way. The gas tank is coming off, and we're moving the exhaust just to get to that one bolt to get the springs out.
You're good?
This is our factory leaf spring, and this is our new spring we got right now. You can see the difference. One's way thicker than the other one. Our new leaf springs packed with a whole lot more leaves for better absorption, whereas our factory one only has about 3. So this was pretty much made for potholes, and this was made for big ass jumps. And now we got the leaf springs on. We're gonna go ahead and throw the rear end on there and bolt it up. Whoop. All right, hold it. Get that side fastened down. We got the U-bolt plates. Hang on for a second, Rudy. When you're down on your luck, just hang in there.
Mesh in. All we need to do now is install the shocks, new wheels and tires, and it's ready for a test run. leaf springs on the Baja F-150. I love how this thing's turning out. With the big shocks, 16 inches of travel, attached to the new long travel leaf springs. I can't wait to get the big wide fenders on it and go test this thing out. Matter of fact, we'll put the wheels on it, go see what this thing can do. The stock tires just aren't going to cut it, so we're replacing it with 37-inch high-performance off-road tires. I really want to see how the suspension does, how it reacts when it hits bumps and dips, and there's all kind of little fine-tuning tricks that you can do to this type of suspension. But, don't know till you really put your foot to the floor and see what kind of reaction you get out of the truck itself, putting bigger tires on it. It's always a concern for not enough power. I call this the spot test. Spot size. That was fun. Man, overall, it was a good run. I mean, there's definitely some tuning on the shocks, but we got to get this thing up in the air, at least over spot. I mean, it shouldn't be very hard to do. We need a lot more power and a lot bigger jump. When I get back, I'm calling Justin and put me one bad turbo system on here, man. What's up, man?
So it's Carlton.
So I want to launch this thing, and it just don't have the power to do what we need to do.
Well, good thing you got this Coyote motor, man. These 5.0s are good platforms. We can do a single turbo, something that'll come in, hit hard, hit like nitrous, man. It'll be good for this pre-runner build. You can see about 20 horsepower per pound of boost.
It'll be enough for Bill.
No Bill, no telling.
What's the plan?
What we can do is we can use the factory flanges, and we can build from those flanges forward to our turbo.
All right, let's start taking that exhaust down.
If we're going to tie into the factory manifolds, it's easier just to go ahead and use the factory OEM flanges and build from this point forward. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut these off, and we're going to try to save it where we can use these O2 bones so we can use the factory flanges. Matt, this one should be ready, man.
This is a good start.
We'll start working on the hot side, which is everything on the turbine side of their turbocharger. Buddy Matt, he's going to start on the cold side, which is like the intake and the discharge off the compressor housing. The hot side of this turbo kit is what feeds the turbine wheel. That's where, I guess, the magic happens. The air comes in, and it pressures it up and pushes it out into the intake manifold.
A turbocharger is basically an air pump. It forces more air into the engine. You get more air.
This thing should spool really, really fast with the dual inlets feeding off of each bank of this 5-liter Coyote motor. So now we got the turbocharger bolted in. We're going to go ahead and start connecting to our intercooler.
Matt's trying to install the intercooler on the F-150, but it just won't fit.
End tanks were kind of hitting on the inside of the frame rails. So we went ahead and we cut them to get it to fit. Now we got to modify and fabricate new pieces so we can go ahead and put our inlets on our intercooler. After we cut it, the coupler that slides on there, it'll want to blow off. So we put a little bead around it to keep it from coming off. I'm going to cut it on the saw and then make our bend. Now that we have our end cap tacked into place, we got 2 more plates that we need to make, and then we can go ahead and weld this side out. Now that we have our end tanks modified on our intercooler where it fits in between the frame rails, we're going to go ahead and get it installed now.
Looks like it was made to be there.
We're going to give it a once over. We still got to run our oil supply line, our drain line. We got a couple fittings that we need to install. This is our downpipe on the exhaust fender zone. We'll know exactly where we need to go with it.
finishing up the body modifications on the front of this Baja.
We'll set the fenders up here and rough them in and see what we got.
Yeah.
With way wider fenders and a fiberglass hood.
Right now, I'm making sure that the fiberglass fender doesn't hit none of the original mounts or on the cab or anything like that. So if it does, we're going to mark it now, trim it out, and then test fit it again and see how we look. Well, look at that. That's 100% better right there.
Let's grab the hood.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
This thing is going to be a beast.
Yeah, it's going to look real cool.
My dad always told me that when I was little, I loved getting those little die-cast model cars we had to put together. He would buy me one, and then he would see me put it together, and then he'd see me taking it apart, and then putting it together again. It was always a fascination in tearing apart vehicles and building something better than what we already had. Our biggest tool and one of my favorite tools is our plasma cutter. Before, there was plenty of parts that we would have to do hands-on, whereas now, computer does it all in what I would do before. Bill hates computers, and to me, computers is one of the biggest things I like to use. When we first got the machine, nobody really knew how to run it or who was going to run it, and I asked him, I was like, hey, so who's going to do it? And he just kind of like looked at me and was like, well, who else? Working with Bill, he does have high expectations for everybody, which is a good thing. He doesn't want anybody else to fail, because the way I see it is if we fail, then he fails. So, of course, he's going to want us to exceed in everything that we do, but of course, he always wants it done in 2 minutes. So.
Finished the frame and the bodywork on the Baja build, but one day I'm gonna sell it. So I'm gonna pick a paint color that's just gonna turn heads. Charlie Murphy.
So, man, what you got now?
Man, I need to pick a color for the old Baja.
Man, what color are you thinking about?
Let me get this paint chip off and see what's up. Probably one of them too.
One of them too? That one right there?
That's it, man. I chose a burnt orange metallic that'll make this Baja look like none other.
So this is what we got here. This is the color that Bill wanted. It has a lot of pearl in it and a lot of metallic in it. And as you can see, it looks real good under the light. The first thing I painted when I was a kid, I painted a bicycle. You know, I started out rattle cannon, and you know, and it started from there, and everything just kind of escalated. And then I ended up painting a 71 GMC, which was, you know, my truck. Me and my uncle did it together, and that was an experience. And then from that point on, it was over for me. There was no going back. So this here is an unusual color for the Baja truck because half a gallon is pearl. Usually you got like 15, 20 grams. This one here's got 700 grams of pearl, and then it's got 600 grams of a different pearl, so that's half a gallon right there, you know what I mean? So this is gonna be beautiful out in the sun when he jumps over Spot's head.
When I see something in my head, I know I can do it. I know I can do it. This F-150 was a little rough when I first got it. We transformed it into a totally different truck. Dave is in for a huge surprise. He has no idea. I'm heading out with my guys to test out this Baja truck. As promised, I've invited Dave to come check it out.
Y'all got that truck done, huh?
You're gonna be blown away when you see this truck.
Really?
It's not the same truck that we got from you.
Damn, that is completely different.
Now I can say I told you so.
You sure that's the same truck? Damn, I cannot believe it.
Yeah, man. So you can do it.
Bill can do
Plus
it.
in typical Bill fashion, you know.
Gotta tear it up.
Told you.
You sure that's the same truck?
Promise you.
Come on. Bill, you sure that's the same truck?
Man, I can see why Dave is shocked. This thing doesn't look anything like it used to.
Oh, you did a lot of work to that thing.
Man, a lot. Started off fixing the frame. We put the frame back together, so it's nice and straight now. The integrity's back in there.
I never would have thought you'd have been able to fix it.
We went ahead and took off all the old suspension, what was left of it, Threw on their new long travel suspension, put some big old shocks and coilovers in the front.
Man, it looks good.
Of course, you see the color change on the whole truck.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the grill, the bumpers, and the super wide fiberglass fenders and bedsides, man. That thing just looks so angry and pissed off when it's coming at you.
It does.
Little bed cage in the back holding the spares.
Sounds like I heard a turbo on that thing.
Yeah, man. You know, we had a little test drive and it just wasn't getting it, so it needed a little more power.
You gotta have more power. That's always.
Custom made a whole turbo setup for this truck. Big stainless exhaust piping through it, intercooler tubes, all that stuff. Did it right.
We about to see how much power it's got.
Yeah.
Man, I said I wanted this thing to jump over Spot. Last time we couldn't even get it over Santa. Man, and now it's time to give it another try with that new turbo.
There we go. Very good. Come on. Go.
Whether it's dropping a vehicle down low, raising one up high, or jumping one through the air, you got to have a good team. And I got some of the best around. I can't thank my guys enough.
Bad.
There it is.
You got this. You got it.
Hell yeah.
Man, that's gonna work. I told you. I know. Yeah. Hey, Bill, I gotta tell you, I never thought you'd have pulled it off. Man, that truck was hit hard, and you made it come out good. I really like that thing back. You think we can do something around 75?
Oh, man, come on. That thing's still too new, man. I need a little bit. Let the new wear off. I'll give you first choice, man, when it comes time.
I'm interested. Let me know.
All right. I wasn't planning on selling this truck today, but, you know, now we have even more metal work to do.
Oh, whoa. Stop. Got a doghouse for the dog. A big dog.
This 2001 Ford F-350. 6 months ago, this was just a beat-up old work truck. You know, and even after all that, there's still just something missing.
Oh, my God, Bill. That is sick right there, man.
You know, when big parts start coming together, it makes for a good day.
This is going to be one of my favorites that we've ever done.
Awesome. Good.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
Man, Bill, so glad you came with me to pick up this engine.
Well, you know, I'm not going to miss the time to come out and see old John and his cool car collection.
And everybody's been talking about.
We're months deep in customizing John's F5 Ford COE with tons of custom metalwork. He wants us to swing by his place because he wants to add a new engine. Once again, a super big build is getting even bigger. And, you know, gotta check up on the old milk truck, see how it's doing.
Absolutely.
Hey, Bill. Spot, how y'all doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
You working?
Yeah, just rubbing on this rascal a little bit. You doing all right?
Heck yeah.
How you doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing fine.
Man, this thing's still looking good.
Put some miles on it. Having a good time.
Running good?
It's still running great. I tell you, I enjoy the heck out of it.
We built a milk truck from ground up for Big John last year. Tons of custom metalwork, full interior, and a big old diesel engine. You know, seeing the milk truck again, that just reaffirms that we really got to keep the bar high on this one.
Yeah, keep pushing the bar to build an even better vehicle than we built before.
Absolutely.
It's absolutely still my favorite build that's ever come out of the shop. But amongst all these other cars, what a collection.
You hadn't seen them all. There's still other garages.
No kidding.
You know, I've known John for a long time. Since I was a kid, we're a lot alike. Always looking to make his builds bigger and better. Always. We planned on keeping the existing engine on the COE, but in this game, the only thing you can count on is things are definitely going to change.
Well, you know how I like diesels. I like this Ford diesel in this one.
Yeah.
Let's do something different. Let's put a Cummins in the next one.
Man, I like that. I love, you know, that's part of it. Just that diesel sound, that smell, man, that'll make it.
I think so. Putting the diesel in the COE, it's the only way to go. They're bigger trucks. They need a diesel. This is what I want you putting as COE, is a Cummins 4BT 12 valve, 3.9 liter with a 4-speed automatic tranny on it.
John, I think it's a great idea. You know, having the diesel in the COE is definitely the right way to go. Even being a 4-cylinder, this thing can still make some good power.
It'll make that COE run good.
The Cummins 4BT is a turbocharged 3.9 liter. It's a small version of the super popular 12 valve. You know, it still packs a ton of power, but size-wise, it's a way better fit for the COE.
This is probably going to be your new favorite.
Nah, this is my favorite.
Oh, no.
Well, then
It's going to be a tough decision.
I have 2 favorites.
You ready to load this up?
Let's load this rascal up.
Let me get the truck.
Yeah, go back it in. I'll get the forklift.
Work on the COE. And it's even going to take more work to make this diesel engine fit.
Clear over there?
This way? Cool. The truth is, if it were my truck, I definitely want the same thing. Come, Timmy.
What you got on that truck out there?
Little engine, little diesel engine. Old John, milk truck John.
Yeah.
He loves how that diesel is in his milk truck. He said he just had to have a diesel in the COE.
So all the work with the old 350 in it, taking all that out, all the sheet metal, everything.
Whatever we're gonna do to make it fit. You know, we've already made a custom Western hauler style bed, running boards, and a whole headache rack. It's all at powder coat. Now we have even more metal work to do.
What do you want to get started on first?
You know, first things first, we're gonna pull out that small block, get rid of that sucker, and let's start doing what we gotta do to get that diesel in. You know, the Cummins 4BT has some components on the side that makes this thing a little wider than the 350. So you already know that creates a lot of work in making a whole new doghouse. And we're going to be adding new front bag mounts to the front suspension to haul that extra weight. Then we can add the wood into the bed and the running boards.
This thing orange or what?
Big John's definitely got to have it orange.
And the orange, the big billet wheels, and now the diesel motor kind of completes the whole project of the truck.
Definitely. The milk truck's going to have a little competition beside it when it gets back home. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Alrighty, buddy. Pull that hood off. Alright.
To make room for the new Cummins engine, Ryan and John are going to start by taking out the whole small block 350.
That's one way to do it.
So is.
It looks like there's no way to get that out. This cross mover right here is going to really hang us up on getting the bottom of this thing out.
I've seen that coming.
Sucks.
I had a feeling this was going to happen, but it was worth a shot. You know, we were hoping we'll just remove the front end and we're about to get the engine out the front of the truck. But clearly that's not going to happen because we got a front cross member here and we don't want to cut that out. So, more work.
To pull the engine out, we got to make room. So we're going to take the radiator off and then the motor mount. You ready?
Yeah.
You hung up on something.
This wire right here, hold on. I got it. Hold on. Temperature sensor wire. All right.
Nice. That'll make life a little easier, huh? A little bit. Hey, stop.
I need the chain to be as short as possible, though.
I understand that. You're hitting the distributor cap. You're about to knock it off. When you're building custom cars and trucks, it seems like they never end. We're always constantly changing and evolving and coming up with bigger, badder stuff. And this is no different.
Right there?
Come down here. All right. Pull the motor your way here.
See what we got.
All right. Go ahead.
Basically a brand new engine, huh?
Yeah. He could probably throw it in one of his other projects and we can put something way cooler in this one, huh?
Yeah, diesel powered.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, you know, John always gets what he wants, so
Hey.
I wish I was that John.
And the running boards. So I asked Lewis to help me pick the right wood to accent that orange paint.
What's up, man?
How you doing, man? This is the color we got.
Lamborghini orange for that COE. You know, the wood's going to be pretty prominent on the bed of this thing and down in the running boards. So it's really going to stand out. But I want something, you know, with a nice grain to it. What is this?
So that one's alder right there. That's a really white wood, so we could add a stain to that. This one's oak. We have walnut here. This is cherry. We have mahogany, and this one's lacewood.
Man, I like that.
We can add a little bit of solvent to it. You know, you can kind of see the natural appearance and the figure of that grain, and our mahogany, and then our walnut.
Man, I think these two.
Yeah, man.
You know, I love the grain in this thing. I think majority lacewood with little separation of mahogany.
Yeah, man.
That would be nice.
Yeah, wood. Yeah, this lacewood, when it's in the sun, it's just going to pop at you. All of the grain running like that, that sun's going to hit it. It's going to be beautiful.
Cool.
All right, man.
Let's do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we got the engine compartment cleared out. Now it's time to fit the Cummins. Typical. As everything else around her being a little bit wider and obviously a lot bigger than that little 350 that was in here. So what I'm gonna do is keep as much of the firewall as I can because height isn't an issue, it's just width. So I'll just cut all the way back and hopefully I'll be able to save this chunk and just move it over an inch. Also gonna trim the frame rails to make a little bit of room and then plate it, boxing it in. That way when I do get this motor in here, I can go ahead and build my motor mounts as well without having to pull it back out again. Everything's done, frames boxed in, motor mount plates are made and ready for the motor to come in. We'll go grab John and stab this thing in here. Try to tilt back. Whoa, stop.
Ah, that sucks. See it hitting the top and it's already at the bottom. You know, when you own a custom shop as long as I have, you get a lot of experience fitting things in vehicles where they're not supposed to be. Like the Cummins and the 1950 Ford COE.
On this side, the injector pump is hitting the body.
For our second attempt on the COE, we raised the body off the frame about a foot to get that engine in there.
It's about right.
Like down, we can start getting this motor mounted to the frame. Whenever you need help, holla at me.
Oh, we will. Come on.
Now that we got the new engine in, you could clearly see it's a lot taller than what was in there. This was the original doghouse that was in there for the 350. So what we're gonna have to do is start from scratch, build a whole new doghouse, make it taller and wider as well. So I got a rough measurement from inside the truck, 36 by 24. Lay it in there, draw me a couple lines, start shaping it. Let's toss it in the truck. And what we're gonna do here to get us some reference lines where I gotta bend this. This mark is the edge of the exhaust. These two marks are the valve cover, and this one is the edge of the fuel filter. Now we'll take this over to the machine and get it braking.
Got a doghouse for the dog. The big dog.
Looks like this is gonna fit pretty good. Make a little adjustment cuts here and there. Make this as close as possible to the engine to give us as much cabin room as possible. But the engine does produce heat, so we can't get too close because then this will get hot. As you can see, this is a lot smaller than what we're working with, so we're just gonna go ahead and cut that off and just make it all new. Piece tacked on there, giving it a little structural integrity while I make a bunch of these little pieces. They're going to form the panel from the top and connect it to the backside. There's going to be a lot of trimming, fitting, and adding till we get this thing all finished. Ground up builds, especially with an owner like Big John, he really challenges us to build something truly that's one of one. You know, that's my passion, but it's also my business. So I'm always riding that line, what's best for the shop and what's best for the build.
You know, the truth be told, my passion almost always wins. Exhibit 1011, this 2001 Ford F-350. You know, we've done a lot of work to this point of getting this old green work truck to the point it's at. You know, you can't really tell now, but about 6 months, we raised the truck 4 inches, added 24-inch wheels, we added full paint, fabricated the bed to flow with our custom fenders and custom short tailgate. You know, and even after all that, there's still just something missing.
Man, I know that look. What are you thinking?
It is not done. It needs a little more.
Like what?
It just needs something to throw it over the top. I think graphics on this thing would really, really, really just wake it up.
So you think it's something subtle, something small, or something just crazy?
See, you know I'm right. You know I'm right, Tim.
You're always right. That's why you're a successful businessman in America.
It's just too green. It needs some graphics down the side. You know, we got to call Caesar and Amanda, get them to come over and get it laid down on here. Then this thing will be finished.
I'll hit him up, see if he's in town, so you can stop by.
You know, we're lucky here with Houston's custom car scene. We have an abundance of specialists and artists who can really just take something just totally over the top. Like this husband and wife team, Caesar and Amanda.
So the main purpose of prepping it is that way we can open up the pores of the paint so we can actually have the adhesion on top of the base color.
Having my wife work with me is a lot easier because the same goal in mind always helps.
Plus, good work is hard to find, so that's why I learned so I can work with him every day.
I'm gonna start with my fine line. I basically had to draw something to get proportion right, and then from there I'll start tweaking it and getting the balance just right. It looks good on paper, but putting it on something that's three-dimensional is really hard because if one line has a real clean arc and there's a kink in it, that disrupts the whole flow of the design process. And it's kind of like a puzzle. You know, I'm trying to piece everything together and I'm working little by little. And then from there, I'll step back and look at the bigger picture.
Now that these graphics are done on the side of the truck, we're gonna pounce it to the other side. You're gonna have to tape over there and come this way.
All right.
We're gonna go ahead and start tracing them and making our marks with a crayon. We're gonna make sure that we get the graphics and then also like the door jambs, the body lines, stuff like that, so that way we can make sure that we have accurate placement whenever we flip it to the other side and transfer the image. More of like an olive avocado green. So we are going to be trying to mix something that's kind of close to that. I can kind of manipulate the tones to get it where we want it.
I like where the green's at, but it needs a little bit more of a bump. So we got some interstellar pearls we're gonna add to it.
Caesar, we're good.
That's what I want. And the sun is gonna make the pearl pop out and give it that dancing shimmer effect. All right, so what we're gonna do is, we got it all masked up, so I'm gonna start laying my base coat down. With pearls, there is a technique to spraying. You wanna get nice, even coats, no blotchiness. So you wanna be a little higher with your pressure and a little more sporadic. That way you can get your pigments to lay on real well. I just finished doing my second coat. What I'm gonna do is wait for this to flash. I'll come back after it's cured and spray some more coats.
What I like about Caesar and Amanda's work, they use multiple techniques with multiple layers all throughout the graphics. The details they're gonna add to this F-350 are just gonna look like they're popping out all that green.
I'm just trying, that way the balance is there, kind of coming from both angles. It kind of makes it look like the colors are cutting into each other. I'll start with the base. I'll come along the edges, get a nice smooth blend. And basically each step builds on top of it. I'll clean the gun, I'll load it up with the candy. You'll slowly start seeing the transitions of the pearls and the candies kind of mixed together. with custom painting, you never know what's going to happen. You never know how your layout's going to turn out, and you kind of base off a feeling, and you just want to have the right look. It takes a lot of practice and a lot of sacrifice. Sometimes you got to break a few eggs before you get it right.
Hey, is that lift arm going to hit that body mount over there?
I'm good.
We're separating the frame on the 1954 F5.
Turn it wheel.
We're going to tidy up the suspension with new upper, lower control arms, bag mounts, and all new bags all the way around. You know, right now is one of the most critical stages when you're setting up air suspension. We got the chassis simulated with the truck all the way deflated, like all the way on the ground. So we're going to simulate the bag fully compressed with our 3-inch spacer. So that's where it needs to go. Okay, real quick, Ryan, measure.
5 and 1/16. 5 and a 16.
We're ready to blow this thing apart.
So, you know, these last couple hours and this little moment right here is always exhausting and exciting all at the same time. Once we get this thing done and powder coated and you start seeing it all come together, man, just this in itself is going to be a showstopper, you know, and then adding the cab and the bed and wheels and all that, man, this is going to be one of my favorites that we've ever done, for sure.
John wants to paint this entire truck orange. You know, I was looking for something bright, bold, but still classy.
In the booth we go. Coming out Tangelo. Oh, come on. Our customer John is all about the bling and the wow factor. So we went with a 2015 Lamborghini orange on this truck. This is a big truck. It's going to be a lot of orange. I think you're going to like it. Because there is so much pearl in it, it doesn't cover as well as some other paints. So you got to make sure when you're spraying, you got a nice even spray pattern. You sunlight. On this color, it's going to take 4, maybe 5 coats to get complete coverage, and that's what we're going for.
You know, I like to powder coat our suspensions and frames. You know, it not only lasts longer, more durable, but it makes it look a whole lot better. You know, with the chassis back from powder coat, ask Little One to assemble the rolling chassis. Then we'll install the engine and marry it to the flatbed and the cab. Yeah, that's right. His name's Little One. Don't ask me why, but he's a good mechanic and fabricator.
We get the motor in here, get the wiring done, and we go ahead and get all the brake lines. That way we don't have to struggle when the cab is on there and everything's fit perfectly. And it's the first time I see the powder coat compared to the cab. It goes really good. Come on, Jesse. Go forward. Line display right here.
Yeah, accept.
All right, go down. Slowly. All right, let's get the other side. Go up.
Down?
Yeah. Oh,
Right there, you got it right there.
All right, Jesse. Your forklift services are no longer needed.
Thanks, buddy.
It's always cool to take the extra effort just to do the rolling chassis. You know, John wanted to keep basically the stock chassis, but he wanted to modify it to fit the truck. Powder coated, broken apart, and you look up underneath there, and everything's finished 100%.
Right now?
Been a long time coming. We're getting the cab down on the chassis. Finally. You know, we started working on this. It was kind of cold outside. Got hot, real hot. We worked all the way through summer. Starting to get cold again. You know, you can tell this is a long project. Measure the distance in between there. Center hole, center hole.
Yeah, 23 3/4.
I'm an instant gratification guy, so I'm feeling pretty gratified right now. You know, when big parts start coming together, it makes for a good day. Looking good?
Yeah, a little bit.
That's about right where it's going to be.
Hell yeah. Man, that's what I like to see. You know, it feels good to look around the shop and see all these big, and bigger builds getting worked on. But honestly, nothing feels better when you give one of these back to the owner. And after several months of work, this lifted F-350 is right on the edge.
makes these graphics seem like they're wider when you're looking at them, but not something that's gonna overkill them. It's easy to mess up, and it's even harder to fix once you do. Sometimes when I'm striping, I'll hold my breath, and as I'm pulling my line, I'll exhale. Even my own heartbeat will shake my hand sometimes. It's just you and the brush, and you just focus on the moment that you're striping, because it takes a lot of control and discipline to get your brush to work. You have to control it. I'm nowhere as good as I want to be, and every time I pick up the brush, in the first 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to know if I'm going to stripe that day, because some days I have it, some days I don't.
Let me find some wood to knock on, because this truck is done. When the owners Andrew and Katie dropped this truck off a few months ago, you wouldn't believe it. It was just a busted up old work truck. But after all we've done, it's going to be worth the wait, and these graphics are just a cherry on the top. What's happening? Good morning.
We say, Bill. How you doing, man?
Hi.
Hi, good morning.
Today's the day.
Yeah, it is, right? You've been waiting a while.
Oh, yeah.
You guys came in that old tired ranch truck. You wanted something totally different, right?
We wanted that one-off no one had.
Right?
Family, its whole life. I wasn't having a new truck. They all looked the same.
What better way than just take the money we have saved and build something unique?
You know, we spent a lot of time on the aesthetics on this thing. You know, just when we thought we were done with this thing, it wasn't done. It needed something just a little more to put it way over the top.
Cool deal. Let's see it. I'm real nervous right now because, I talked her into doing it, and now, if it doesn't turn out right, she's going to kick my butt.
You guys ready to check this thing out?
I'm super excited.
Let's get Matt to bring this thing around.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God,
Holy
Bill, that
cow.
is sick right there, man. That is awesome.
Oh, I think I'm going to cry. That's crazy. I'm shaking.
You did it right there.
Looks good, huh?
Oh yeah, not even the same truck.
Close to what we expected, right?
Nope, not even close. This is nice, Bill.
I mean,
so you're liking it?
Oh yeah, we're loving it. Loving it.
Look at that really cool bumper.
Just makes you want to get out of its way, right?
Oh yeah, those round lights. I'm glad you went with that instead of a light bar.
Yeah, man, there's been way overplayed, right?
No, that is perfect. That is nice.
You know, the 24-inch dually wheels on this thing that just really wakes it up.
Color match too.
Right?
That's nice.
You know, one of the most unique things on the truck is the bed itself. So what we did is just cut the original bed down and shaped it around the later model dually fenders, which gives it just a totally different look.
Perfect, and plus I still get the bed use. It's got the sides, it's got the little tailgate on there, so stuff's not flying out. I don't have to strap everything down.
Right?
Little baby
I
gate.
think it's pretty cute.
Little baby gate.
Mini gate.
The finishing touch on this was just the graphics, just to tie everything together, just put it next level.
It takes that truck from awesome to radical, 100%.
That's right.
I think those graphics stand out. It's like they're not even touching the paint. It's like they're just setting off the truck completely. The different layers on that, the colors in there, that's perfect, but it doesn't take it away from the actual truck itself, so.
It adds to it,
yeah,
for sure.
It really does.
Absolutely. It just gives it that whole aggressive attitude and makes it just
stand out. It's kind of cool, It's like there's a little snakeskin looking thing, and then there's like a little leopard looking thing. I don't know. It's like an exotic animal of some sort.
It's like the green beast, man. It's unique.
There you go, man. I think you just named your truck.
Might have. See what she says about that.
Now I need some graphics on the back windows that say Green Beast.
After looking at everything that Bill's done and the guys did on this truck, we only have one problem.
What's that?
This time we'll be bringing more of our vehicles here.
Oh, gosh.
You went above and beyond what we wanted. This is perfect.
Appreciate that. I'm glad it's still in your family. I'm sure you're going to keep it for a long time.
We will.
Oh, yeah. It'll go to the grave with us.
Watch the back of the cab. It's always good to see one leave, but two is always better. And the 1950 Ford COE is getting real close to being finished. John's out there putting a lot of strips of wood together to fill that bed and the running boards.
So I've got all the raw lumber planed down to the proper thickness. So what we can do now is I'm going to take the jig that they built the bed off of, mark it out so I know what parts of it I'm going to be using,
I'm gonna go ahead and cut these boards down to length so I have smaller pieces to deal with, and it'll be a lot easier to manage when it's time to glue and clamp these up. Next thing we want to do is do a layout for our biscuit joinery. This is what's called a biscuit. We create a pocket in both halves of the wood, and when you bring it together, it keeps everything lined up. It makes a stronger joint, so these things will be solid. I'm gonna take this tool. This is a plate joiner, and what this is gonna do is it's actually gonna cut it. The biscuit fits in like that, and it will line up with the next one. They go together like so. That way now it's perfectly even across here. A little bit of sanding and these things will be dead on, ready to go. Usually we're working with fiberglass, Bondo, MDF, things like that. It's really kind of a treat to have a chance to work with some real wood and, you know, play with a tree.
Everything we do here, it's about going the extra mile. So when Big John wanted to Cummins diesel on his COE, I gave a call to some Cummins specialists who come from a tiny little town, hour and a half north of here, called Nacogdoches. What's up? Hey, what's happening, man?
What's up, Bill?
How you doing, brother? Man, real good. Appreciate you guys coming down.
Absolutely. No problem, man.
And what'd you think about this, man?
This is awesome.
It's like beauty, man.
I doubt there's very many 52 Ford run around with a 4BT in it.
Right.
Dude, I can't wait to hear this thing run, man, and get a hold of that pump, turn it up, make it roll some coal.
Do what you do, Glenn. Let's get this thing running.
Let's get her done.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Stock, this engine's about 120 horsepower. We're going to have John's pushing about 3 liters, pump work, turbo.
It should give us about 600 foot-pounds of torque, which is plenty for moving this big old truck.
That's a bad little engine.
Yes, it is.
Big bang for your buck. All right, now that we got the front cover off, I think we're ready to go ahead and clean everything up, make sure there's no debris or anything inside of it that could potentially cause a malfunction or failure, and then put our new billet front cover on. So the advantage of this front cover versus the old style one is that they actually were prone to leaking a lot. They were a really thin piece of metal, and these engines heat up and cool down so much that they actually start to warp and breaks the seal on the gasket. So the advantage of this, it's a lot thicker, a lot stronger. It helps create a better seal over time, and we won't have oil going everywhere either.
These 4-cylinder Cummins, these 4BTs, they run great fuel mileage, and they can move a big vehicle for the size of them,
Yeah, there's a lot of companies use them that do a lot of deliveries.
Yeah.
And they're running 24/7.
24/7.
Putting 400, 500,000 miles on these things, and they just
keep on running. Okay, so we're taking these single valve covers off. We're going to put one solid piece of billet aluminum one on here. They tend not to leak as much. Instead of a gasket that kind of overlaps these, we got O-rings on each one that's cut into the billet piece. Looks a lot better than what we have here.
So what we're putting on here is a harmonic balancer. Typically 4BTs didn't come with them because they were in industrial use. They didn't really care about vibration in the engine or anything like that. Seeing as this is going in a truck now, this helps dampening all the vibrations coming from the crank and just really smooths out the engine idle and gives you a nice ride.
Bill and his guys did an amazing job getting this to fit, and we can fire this thing up. You ready to start it?
Yeah, I got the launch crack ready to bleed it out.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
This thing sounded awesome, man. This thing's going to give John plenty of room in here. It's just going to fit the bill, man. It's just going to run great. I mean, it just sounds awesome, man.
Woo! Sounds great.
John's been putting in hours and hours of making the wood to put in the running boards and the flatbed. It takes a lot of experience to work with the hardwood.
As you see, I got it all roughed out and cut to shape. So the next thing I'm gonna do is take my template. I'm just gonna clamp the template to this and take my hand router and a flush trim bit and work my way around it. Slowly ease my way around the corners. With this being a hardwood, I'm gonna have to be careful so it doesn't tear out and split out on the ends. So take a little bit more time than cutting MDF, but way worth it. Well, we got this one piece ready to go. So next step is get it over to the paint shop, and we'll get a finish put on it. Man, it sure does look good. Awesome. Man, I can't wait to see them in the truck. It's going to be
beautiful, man.
Beautiful.
So we're going to get the wood ready to stain. The stain's going to look great with this type of wood. It's going to give it the clarity that we want, and it's going to be beautiful. I want it to be fairly natural, so I don't want a really heavy pigmented stain. So this is going to be very transparent. It's going to highlight the wood, so we'll put it on there. I want to go in a circular motion to make sure that I get all of this stain mixture here applied evenly. So I'll come back and I'll wipe it this way out. So I've got the clear in the gun, and we're going to get to spraying. We're going for a full fill finish, just like a piano would have. So in order to seal the pores of the wood, we need to keep coating it, keep sanding it, smooth it out really well. And that's the way we're going to get that look that Bill wants.
On builds like this, I like to have the design flow from the inside out. So the wood on the bed is going to flow all the way into the interior.
Now I got all the measurements and everything. We've got the shifter in and the doghouse, so we know everything's going to fit like we should. So now it's got to transfer all these measurements to a piece of chipboard, and then we'll start building this console. All right, now we got all the pieces cut out. We're going to put the base of the console together. Once we get it all together, we're going to go ahead and start on the top section of it. It's going to look pretty nice. I'm loving it so far. I think it's going to be just like what was envisioned. You know, we're going to have two googly eyes here, two more googly eyes here, shifter right there, compartment with plenty of storage, plenty of room. You'll see when these sides go on, it's actually going to leave us a 1/4-inch gap in the center for our aluminum. That's going to run like a belt line all the way across here. And then we're going to have our lacewood veneer on the top. So where this lid opens up, I don't want to see screws. We have our center screws. We're going to attach from inside this panel through the aluminum and pull this together. So it's going to give a real clean look without seeing one screw whatsoever. People are going to wonder how it's held together. Like most things I build, the console is a puzzle. You know, I build everything from inside out. It's the little details that count. A lot of extra work, but it's worth it in the end. I like it.
All the pieces of the COE puzzle are built, we got to complete the picture. That's installing the doors, adding the stereo, final electrical, and of course installing the beautiful hardwood and the running boards in the bed.
There has been a ton of work. I know I say that a lot of work in this thing.
The great thing about customization is you have this one idea, your one base idea to start off of. And once you start, getting into it, you're transforming your vehicle into something, your vision. There's always other ideas along the way that even make your vision greater. There's always something to put your personal touch on.
Once you do add that one or two pieces, now you got to keep going down the truck.
Snowballs.
Yeah. Everybody pushes the boundaries every year.
Well, that's one good thing about customization. It never does stop.
The wheels get bigger, tires get bigger, brakes get bigger, suspensions get taller, try to get lower. Same with stereo, same with changing paint. It's just on and on and on.
That's what's great about the industry that we're in. There's always something higher to reach for, something to improve on. The Ford COE has just been a huge build. Everybody at the shop has been pushing one another to create Big John something he can be proud of for years to come.
I've waited a long time for decided to get this COE back. How you doing?
like coming out here and hanging out with you.
Well, I always loved having you. I invited my grandkids out here so they could see this because they all love the milk truck, but the bar was high on that.
That's right. I know, you won't accept nothing less than that for sure.
I hope you exceeded that bar on this one.
Absolutely. Been a long time coming. I know you're ready. You guys ready?
You're ready.
Let's check this thing out. Come on, John.
Awesome. You did good. Look at that rascal.
What's the name?
I like it. Look at the blade. You hit the paint perfect. Compared to what it was.
The sun hitting this Lamborghini orange, this thing looks amazing.
Hey, Don.
Hey, John.
You had a hand in this one, doing this one?
Yes, sir.
You did the milk truck?
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. You did an awesome job.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me everything about it. What all y'all do?
I ain't got to tell you what we started with on this one, right?
We had a nasty truck.
Nothing lined up on this. There was rust everywhere. Months and months of metal work, just making everything
fit right.
We dropped the frame out of this thing, redid the suspension, powder coated it just by making a Western Hauler style bed. It just really fits this style of the
looks
truck.
Great.
What
type of wood is this?
That's a lace wood with mahogany inserts, and also brought it down into the running boards just to bring some color in that, contrast, and just be something that nobody's ever seen before.
I mean, the lines are beautiful. The wood cut is perfect. You come up with the extraordinary every time. I appreciate it.
Of course, he threw us a curveball on this thing.
We changed with the diesel motor.
Yeah, we had this thing almost all buttoned up as far as engine wise, and then with this nice curveball.
Oh, well, I knew y'all could handle it.
Let's check this out.
Let's go check it out. Whoa, that looks fantastic. Great.
How the little 4BT looks right at home in this thing, right?
It did that really good.
Well, I'm glad you made that call because this thing needed a diesel.
When y'all picked it up, it didn't look like that.
No, you definitely wouldn't want to pop the hood the way it was before, right? You see the intercooler tubes go up in there. Just, man, it makes this thing really stand out. Had the one-way diesel guys come down. They turned this thing up. It's got over 300 plus horsepower, probably 1,000,000 foot-pounds of torque.
Should be Screamer now,
right? You ready to check out the interior?
You bet we are. Wow. You did fantastic. That looks good.
But you gotta have the comfort too, right?
Oh yeah, we gotta be able to cruise in it and enjoy it.
I mean, we started by ripping everything out of this thing and just starting fresh. Welded up all the holes in the dash and just woke this thing up, brought that orange color inside.
I like the wood here, but you brought it in here.
Right.
That is beautiful.
Just had to tie it all together.
And the console too.
Not only that, this thing sounds good too. You got all new stereo on this thing. It's all Bluetooth. New gauges, new AC, new everything.
The upgrades are unbelievable.
There's not anything in this thing from 1950.
That's true. That's true. This exceeded what I wanted. The orange, all the bling, the wood, that rollback roof, all of it's fantastic. I'm looking really forward to taking this truck out.
Bar was set high with the milk truck. How we do?
The milk truck's great, and this is better. If we ever do another one, you really gonna have some tough times. Thank you very much, John. Thank you very much.
Let's get this thing in.
Let's get it inside.
This job was a long one for us. Every guy in the shop has hours and hours and weeks, in some cases months. And this is a long, labor-intensive build, which I'm very proud of how this thing turned out. Reminds me of how good my whole team is. I'm proud of each and every one of my guys. I couldn't do this alone, and I appreciate everything they do for me and all my customers.
Nobody would have ever said the first builder did that. It would have been on extensive.
Where to begin?
Man, what do you do with this thing?
Party, we go to shows. No, this just isn't keeping up. Let's get crazy, all right? Ice, beer, food.
This thing's going to be so loud, it's going to slap them right in the face.
Oh my God. Man, that's crazy. I love it.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal.
work, you know, I always pick up some breakfast for myself, and I tend to pick up a little extra for the dogs on the streets. When I get to the shop, I usually have 3 or 4 dogs, extensive. You know, we like to take care of business. That's inside the shop, outside the shop, it goes all the way around. And when I say outside the shop, I mean the neighborhood dogs.
You know, a lot of them are super friendly. They just come up into the shop, walk around, look around, check out the new projects, and go on with their day.
Don't drop them off here, but the ones who need help, we got a big heart and try to help them all the time.
After a little bit of TLC, you know, they become part of our gang. So just like everybody takes care of each other here at the shop, we got to take care of them and they take care of us.
My friend Dorian owns PSE, you know, our diesel guys, says he has a customer with, you know, a truck that has a few little issues. So today we're going to get it in and check it out. You know, hearing creaks and moans in a truck that high off the ground could mean multiple things. Could be just a little lube here and there, or it could be a catastrophe waiting to happen.
What's up, Bill?
How's it going, man?
CJ.
How you doing, man? Nice to meet you. This is the one you were telling me about, huh?
That's the one, man.
Man, it looks good from here, but you got some problems underneath.
A lot of problems.
It's all yours now.
Well, man, let's check it out.
Yeah, I'll let y'all talk. I'm gonna talk to Rudy.
All right. See a couple of issues just as soon as you walk up to it, huh? Just all the welding and grinding and everything up front. It just looks... Man, you can't have that. Oh, man.
Told you it was bad.
His drop downs are just super sketchy, man. There's nothing even holding this but bolts on the outside. Man, that holds the whole weight of the truck, your load, everything. There's nothing to hold this thing from flipping out. Man, that is really dangerous. A stock 2017 F350 with no lift weighs over 8,000 pounds. This is exactly what I didn't want to see. A truck this high that weighs this much, that somebody could be driving down the road next to my family and yours. I mean, it's super unsafe, and this is something that needs to be addressed immediately. Oh, man, I thought this was the bad part, but that's...
Needs a lot of attention back there, Bill.
You don't even have really even the plates bending. Bag mounts are all twisted. The 4-link bracket is about to rip off the axle. And whoever did this has no business building anything like this at all.
And the sad part is it hasn't even been driven, really.
Man, thank God you didn't get in it and drive it down the street and hook a trailer to this thing. It's just an accident waiting to happen.
It's not good. I go to shows and we travel all across the country, and this is one of the trucks that I use to do most of the traveling with, and I have a lot of weight back there that I pull around too, and a lot of money back there too, so if something happens, I don't know what I would have done. When I picked it up, I didn't know that it was that bad. It was that crazy.
What do you put behind this? You got a gooseneck trailer in this thing?
I got a 40-foot. I've got 2 matching rigs. I got a big 95 old body style, and I got another matching Tahoe. And they all go on that 40-foot, so I needed to do what I bought it to do.
Oh, you want to be able to actually use it?
Yeah. Need a usable dually. Right now, I can't even drive it. Feels like it's going to fall apart.
Man, I've seen this look a million times when you're giving someone the bad news. He paid good money for somebody to do this to his vehicle, and we got to redo it again. That's how the Tree of Shame was built. Let's get this thing unloaded, man. We'll get going on it, and we'll make it right for you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Let's go make it official.
Let's do it.
You know, this is Texas, so everybody wants, you know, custom vehicle. Because of that, there's almost an endless supply of customers that want to get work done to their vehicle, and there's plenty of shops around. Just take advantage of that. Don't really know what they're doing. They just want to make a quick buck, and this is a prime example. Unfortunately, we do see this quite often. You definitely have to be careful of who does your work for you. You know, especially on a project of this size, man, if as heavy as this thing is, it's probably 8,500 pounds. That going at 70, 80 miles an hour and something breaking on this thing is going to somersault down the road and it's going to kill somebody. done with this truck, this thing's not only going to look cooler, it's going to be way safer.
I didn't know Fisher-Price made lift kits.
This is scary. This is super dangerous. There is no kind of support here holding this to the frame other than, I think they have 1 or 2 bolts underneath here. That's it. Bolts on the outside, a couple of them are just for looks. They're just stuck in the hole of silicone. Well, man, it's really scary.
And please tell me he didn't drive this thing here.
Man, he didn't drive it. He's only drove it around the parking lot, maybe a quarter mile, half a mile. That's all the damage of just the stopping and starting with this much weight with some shady brackets like that.
I can't believe somebody sold him this job.
I mean, that's just, unfortunately, that's what, you know, a lot of people don't know. They're driving around with stuff like this. I mean, that's really scary. There's definitely a few things that we got to address on this thing. One of the first ones is putting some support back into this, attaching it to the frame, making it super safe and strong. We can use what's here. The basic design is here. The geometry is, for the most part, correct. Built some supports, some nice tubular supports to connect each thing. We can powder coat it in blue to match all the rest of the truck. And that'll tie everything in together. You know, next we're just gonna pull the axle completely out. Let's start over fresh, cut everything off. The 4-link brackets, the bag brackets, I mean, all of it's trash. We'll build all new bracketry, incorporate some tube work in that also, so it looks cool and is really strong. Definitely always
look, there's something going on.
At least we got a lot of stuff we can put on the tree of shame.
Definitely get that extensive forest going.
There's gonna be a lot. Let's go, man. Let's get ready.
First thing we gotta do, before we lift this truck, we gotta release the air pressure out of the bags. Like that.
You know, this is like a crime scene investigation. Tim and John gotta go through every inch of this truck to find all the bad work, tear it all out, then we can start to make things right.
Man, look at this. We got a rub mark here from the tire. If it would have rubbed even more, it would have eventually went all the way through and we would have lost air pressure in this corner. And would have just been a disaster. When you removed that bag on that side, was it tight? Had a little rock to it. We got like 1/8-inch gap between the base of the bag and where it's supposed to sit. One turn and it came off. Look at that. Look how many threads was holding. Just one thread.
They're uneven cuts, even strip bolts that are welded together.
You know you're not supposed to weld bolts, right? Because they're weak.
You had to cut the bracket so it would fit.
You got a weak point on top, might as well make the bottom one weak too, huh? This plate comes all the way down to here and over. Here and over. And nothing in the back. Hollow inside, huh? Nothing tying them together. So all it is a big pry bar just peeling that metal away. You see, that's why it's ripped it right here and right there. There's a bar 7 foot long. When that bar moves up, all it's doing is peeling this back like a tin can. This is the weakest point right here. It's just gonna start peeling that metal up. Where to begin? In order for John and I to even get started on this rear end, let's cut everything off of it that was done before, go back to stock, start over from scratch, and do it 100% right.
So we can rebuild it the right way. We're going to keep the existing drop-down brackets, but Tim and John are going to add a ton of strength to them.
Okay, so what I'm about to do is burn out a 4-inch by 4-inch hole here. That way it gives us access to the bolts we're going to add to this.
So we can reach in here and put a nut on every bolt that we can. That way it makes it extra tight to the frame.
When we tore this down, there was a big gap between the bracket and the frame. There's still little gaps, we filled it in with flat bar. Now that that's filled in, that gives it a solid mount. We bent this piece here, bolted to the frame, then we'll weld it all the way down. So what it's ultimately going to be is a cradle that sandwiches a frame, and have bars in between that make it 100% strong and sturdy.
Working on a previously customized vehicle is a lot more work to go back and fix than something you just start from scratch. Righting a wrong, in this case, a bunch of wrongs, have been a big part of my business. On the other hand, I like the challenge. It keeps us on point. Yeah, always ready. And good thing too, because we're always getting calls, come on over, we need some help.
The middle. Peter. Okay.
Hey, what's happening, man?
Oh, hey, what's up? Phil? Eric.
Nice to meet you, man. This yours, huh?
Yeah, this is mine.
Man, what do you do with this thing?
Party, we go to shows.
Yeah.
And, this just isn't keeping up. I got the trailer down in Florida. It pulled into my booth. It was pretty cool. Towed behind this cool van. It was my birthday. Had the for sale sign on it. Gave a little nudge to my wife, and here we are.
You just need something just to wake this thing up to draw the crowd over to your booth, huh?
Exactly, yeah. What I want it to be like, is when we show up, it's like, stealth has arrived. This badass trailer that we get ice, beer, food, everyone's hanging out.
I don't see any place here for any ice or any storage or anything right here. Just
No, it's pretty blank right now.
Man, I love the idea of a party trailer. I mean, the basics are here. We just got to expand upon it and make something over the top and just cool. Man, we can definitely wake this thing up. Like this grill, man. This was, did you find this?
Yeah, well, it fits, so I put it in there.
Carry on this thing. You got a party trailer, you gotta have music. You gotta have a lot of music. And maybe even some air suspension on this thing. Something where you can raise and lower when you're going off-road. We can get crazy with it.
Yeah.
If you're down for that.
Yeah. Crazy is what I want. Let's get crazy, all right? Whatever it takes to make something cool. I want people to come up to our booth. I want to be able to hear what's going on. I want to be able to project that sound as drinks, as food, people hanging out, music. I mean, this is going to be awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Go all out,
Man, let's get this thing going. Let's do it.
All right, sweet.
All right. Party trailer was a great idea. It's a great concept. It works okay. It draws some attention. But we're going to take this thing and just draw a lot of attention. This thing is going to be not just something people are going to talk about. Wherever show it's at, wherever event it's at, people are going to want to come see this in person. On a vehicle, you got to work around what's there. There's all kind of parameters to work with. Something like this, you just have a good time, only restricted by your imagination. And we're going to let our imagination just go crazy on this. You're creating a party and
looks like it's got sausage in it. Mine's better than yours. Need a cerveza. Need something.
You guys, do you ever work?
We're just trying it out.
Make sure it works, huh?
Don't worry.
It's not lunchtime anymore.
Well, it's taco time now.
Yeah. Well, this is the next project we're going to be doing right here.
Cool.
This thing it's cool. We're going to make it way, way cooler. We're going to make this thing party on wheels.
Fully functioning, one stop, make it, eat it, party.
Absolutely. Right now we just have an old wore-out grill, old smoker. That's it. No storage, no place for ice, no place for drinks. New grill, new smoker, just something just crazy.
We have a tortilla maker.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I'll go with the trailer everywhere. That'd be cool.
Next problem this thing has a suspension. This thing's almost riding on solid axle. We're gonna put air suspension on this thing too. Going to car shows, events, and you know how loud some of those events get. So we want this to be the loudest. Not only loud, we want the lighting, we want cooking, eating, the total experience.
Cool, man. After this thing gets the suspension done, we can go to town. I see a bunch of like tower speakers around here. We got room in here for a few subs. We can get in here, get playing some nice lows out for everybody. Yeah, fire right out the bottom. Like maybe some acrylic on the top. You can light it up and cut cup holders into the acrylic.
That's an awesome idea. We were told to go crazy, so that's what we're gonna do is go crazy on it. Let's make something just totally off the wall.
I think we got it. I've done a couple things. We'll be all right.
All right.
Let's finish my taco. Start tearing this thing down, brother? Yes, sir. I guess taco time's over. It's time to tear it up and build a new place to eat. Let's do it. Hey, easy, buddy. Right now, we're going to go and pull all this wood out of here so Bill and the guys can do what they got to do. There it goes. Easy enough. Wow. Good. Going up, bay 2. For a regular trailer just going down the street hauling whatever, these axles work pretty well. But with them having that big tire on it, it makes it want to bounce more. There's no kind of shock system to it. The 4-link system is going to be a way better system, especially going off-road, little twists and turns. You know, you want a little more clearance out of it. It's going to ride a whole lot smoother than just this one axle right here. Yeah, it's probably a good thing he's changing it. It's all broke right here. It's all cracked. It looks like it's been broke a couple of times. They just kept adding weld to it every time it broke. At least it's at the right place now.
Not even that heavy. No wonder it was bending up.
Yeah.
Check out.
Now we have the axle out of the way, we have the brackets out of the way. We can clean this all up and we can start fresh.
So we're gonna go ahead and cut the smoker off. It'd be nice and easy if we could just go ahead and cut around the circumference of it. But unfortunately, it looks like there's more welds underneath. Hope you got a smoking good deal on that one. This thing ever smokes.
Because this is a party trailer, it's about function as much as form. We need to smoke and grill like only Texans can. Something completely custom. So I made a call to the pros.
What's up, Bill?
What's happening, man?
What's up, bro?
These things look good, man.
Yes, sir. We got our beautiful heavy-duty barbecue safe smoker and a solid stainless steel industrial gas grill, man, that can handle the vibrations of the road. Built all by hand right here in Houston.
Craftsmanship looks great.
It's all primer for you, ready for that beautiful paint job you're going to put on it. And I'm excited to see what you guys can do with it.
Let's get it off and get it going. Time to get to work.
Yes, sir.
That's a real critical part of building this party trailer is getting the cooking and preparation areas all laid out right. We got some really cool custom grills made for this thing, and super important. This time around, we're gonna make sure every part has a purpose and everything is where it's supposed to be. To improve the functionality, we're putting the grill and the smoker on the back of the trailer.
What we're gonna do is take the existing barbecue pit and we're gonna drop it down, because if we were just to make these fit right here, it would be way up here. And you can't cook meat like that. You're gonna burn the chicken. This is a stronger joint than just butting something up and welding it all the way around. So we're gonna make a 45 here and then an offset 45 right here to kick back. Some people would just cut this off and just throw a tube down and kick her over. That's not how we do things here at Extensive.
Woo! You need me to hold it, Jimmy?
Pick up on it so I don't mind.
Oh!
I was just gonna get a hammer. That works too.
We're gonna use 3x3 steel so it'll hold up all that weight. Alright, so I see we dropped them down about 8 inches, so we're not gonna reach up too high. Go ahead and mount these pits and drill some holes for the mounting bolts. Yeah, straight. Whoa, down a little bit. Hold up. That looks good, huh, Jamie?
Looks nice. Step down the frame, everything. It's gonna make it super easy to cook.
Perfect height, yeah.
You know, Tim and John have really been putting a lot of work on the F350, but it's heading in the right direction. Now they're lining up the rear axle to get it connected to the 4-lane.
What we're doing now, we got the axle where it needs to be. And with the bars that we have, we're designing some brackets that go around the rear end and connect the bar to the rear end. So right now, John's just kind of sketching something out. We'll give it to Rudy. He'll burn us 4 of them out. We'll punch a hole in it and put them on the rear end. Looks good.
4. Good beef jerky.
Hey, boss. Hey, what's the plan?
We need 4 of these.
For a truck this size, we always try to over-engineer it. In that case, we use 1/4-inch plate for all the brackets and tabs on this truck, which will make it a whole lot stronger. We're gonna make sure that's flush with the rear end. When we do that, we know this is in line with this one, that one's in line with that one, because this is straight all the way across. We always want to double check all these measurements to make sure everything's 100%. When you look at this tire, it'll match that tire perfectly and they'll track together all the way down the road. If not, you'll get it tracking like this and you'll see the back end of the truck either going that way or that way because the axle's not exactly centered.
The reason we weld the insides first before we box it is it makes it a lot stronger. There's a lot more weld to the axle. A lot of people will make these already boxed in, and they'll place them on the axle. Well, you could only weld the outsides. You cannot get to the inside. So we like to do it like this, so it's stronger. Some pretty good welds there. Myself on a pat on the back.
Now that John's got all this welded in, it's really strong. This with some pipe rolled across here, some other pipe crossing it, it'll be fully welded all the way around, and it's gonna make a shape that's gonna make it extra strong.
Yeah.
We're gonna trace this one where it's gonna intercross each other. We'll cut this one will weld to this one, and this one will continue all the way to the rear end.
This is gonna be extra fun.
The only problem with running all this pipe work like we do is you never get a simple 90-degree cut or a 45-degree cut. Everything's a weird cope that you gotta do to make one pipe tie into the next. It's never really easy. There's always a challenge. But if you take your time and cut a little bit at a time, grind a little bit at a time, make it fit right, it'll just make the weld look a whole lot better with a tight fit.
Time. It just takes time.
Really rough shape. We've replaced all the old sketchy rear metalwork with a brand new rear suspension. We're going to mock it all up with the existing 4-lane bars. That looks like shit, man. Hot thread here.
This bar is not only short, it's also bent at the end.
From a splice. I guess they ran out of material spliced. I mean, that's one thing you don't do, is splice a 4-lane bar.
If we'd have left this and like this, nobody would have ever said the first builder did that. It would have been on extensive.
No, we can't have that. We got to make it look right and perform right.
So what we're going to do is go ahead and build 2 new upper bars for this. You see right here where this one's all bent. They had this much of one stick left over and then this much of another stick left over. It looks like they just butted it together, beveled it, and then welded it to make one long pipe. The way it's welded together right here, it gives it a point to where it's been heated up. It could be brittle, or it could just break off altogether because it won't hold. So we don't want to take a chance in something they spliced together. So we just went and got a whole new piece of DOM. That's going to make it what we need, as strong as we need, as straight as we need, and it's going to... These are our new weld-in bungs, and the weld will go from there to there, so when it gets powder coat and everything is done, it'll look real nice and smooth. Perfect. All right, John, weld it out.
When this party trailer shows up to events, the owner wants this thing to grab all the attention. Heath and John are going to make this thing happen with custom seats, bar tops, and a ton of audio.
Got it? Yep. Bingo then. It's all you. For the countertop, what we're actually going to do is make an acrylic sandwich. It's going to be lit up in the center with LEDs. The hard part is going to be cutting the brittle material without breaking it. That'll work. Are you lining up on this corner? Yes. Well, then we're there. The last thing we have left to do is cut out the opening for the ice chest. Got this piece of MDF cut out as a template. Look at that. All we're going to do is transfer it into plastic now. Nice. The top, so we can get the lighting in it. I'll use the black plastic as my template. Just follow my plastic around and it'll be a perfect copy of what I've already got. Continue the process all the way down as we get all the pieces made. Once they're done, all we're going to do is get someone to come clean up our mess. Yeah, good luck with that. All right, see what we got here. Nice. We decided to go with these boat seats. They can handle any kind of water, any rain, any mud, so that'd work out pretty good, but we can't leave them alone. What we're going to do is we're going to take the company logo and we're going to put this on a piece of acrylic and light it up, mold it into the back of the seat, and that'll look pretty cool. All right, we've got all my badges made. So the next thing I got to do is I got to take and attach them to the back of the seat. So I'm using 1-inch PVC and attach it to the inside so that I can screw into that and not into the frame of the seat. I'll attach the badge to it, and these are just going to be some transfer marks. When the filler hits them, it'll pick up the marker, and then when I pull it off, that line will be in the bottom of my piece, so as I'm sanding, I know to come up to that line and stop, and that keeps everything straight. I worked at a trade school for probably almost 10 years, and one of the hardest things was teaching them to sand. Anytime they looked at sanding, one of the hardest things to do is just kind of get in your head and know that I've got to sand this. It's your space, spend your time, and just go to town. Now that we got all these logo badges roughed in and ready to go, next thing we're going to do is put the party in them. We'll take them apart, get my elephant knife out, and get to carving on it until I can get these LED strips to fit. Once those are in, we'll get it wrapped, get it sealed up, and get them installed on the trailer. When Bill brought us this project, he told us one thing. This thing had to be the loudest thing in the park, the loudest thing at the show, the loudest anywhere it went. The name of the game here is just as many speakers as you can fit. Anywhere you can find a spot, you cram a speaker and make it loud. This thing's going to be so loud, it's going to have people thinking, what in the hell were they thinking when they did that? It's going to slap them right in the face.
You know, the bar top and seats, they're done. And we got the party trailer back from powder coat. We just got to hook everything up, and it's tailgate time.
Tom and I
start doing the final install of the air tanks, bags, compressors.
Hooking up lights used to be difficult, but LEDs have made it easier by 100-fold. Small, waterproof, and durable enough to go anywhere. I'm adding about 170 feet of LED lights. And because you can never have too much sound, I'm putting in a soundelier. I hope the owner has some earplugs.
To say we worked a lot on this trailer is a total understatement. We put everything we can put in on this thing, and today we're going to give it back. What's happening, man? Man, appreciate y'all meeting me out here at 1886 Humboldt Backyard Bar. This place is all about having a good time, having a couple of drinks, and just kicking back. What a better place to bring you your trailer.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me out here. This place looks awesome.
Well, man, you said go crazy with it. We went insane with it. I can't wait for you to see this thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. Definitely over the top.
That's so cool. I can't wait to see it. This is going to be great.
You ready to check this thing out?
Yeah, man. Let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, my. Dude, are you kidding me? Look at that thing. Holy shit. Wow. I've never even seen speakers like that before. This is just crazy.
Well, you wanted something to draw some attention, right?
Oh, dude. That thing's insane. I love it. What's up, guys? You have something to do with this thing?
A little bit. You all right?
Great.
What's up,
good
man?
Now.
As you see here, we touched every part of this trailer, put air suspension on the back, so it's totally adjustable with a big, heavy 4-link on it, so it looks mean and nasty, too.
Yeah, I love the 4-link. I can't wait to really get under there and look at everything you did. I can't wait to get it off-road, drop it down, bring it up. It's going to be perfect.
You had old smoker in the back and a grill up front that you found somewhere. I'm not real sure.
Yeah.
My boy's pit maker got you hooked up with the smoker and grill, centralized in the rear spot so you can, keep all the cooking back to the back and just worry about the party in the front.
The old barbecue, it was trash. Total garbage. And this new stuff, it's insulated. It's got all these layers. These guys are going to set me up with everything I need. And it's just so much better than before.
When it first came in, we sat down, we had tacos on it. First thing we figured out that it wasn't very comfortable to sit down and eat on. So we had to get comfortable seats in it.
It's such a good idea to use boat seats because instead of the wood, now I don't have to worry about it. No matter what I throw at it, I'm good to go.
Bill gave us one other thing he told us. It's got to be loud. We need to power 6 or 7 cars, we put it all into one. 6x9s down the side, really just firing right into your gut. We've got the 10s overhead. We got woofers down on the bottom. This thing is so loud, you'll be drawing people for at least a mile away.
It is loud.
That is
Make it a little bit better, we put lights everywhere. We even lit up the countertop. Lights in the seats, lights around all the rest of the speakers. This thing parties all day long.
The way they put my logos on everything and they light up, the attention to detail is just unreal. It looks like everything in excess. Exactly what I wanted.
You definitely got that. How about we fire this thing up and really see what it's about?
Oh, yeah.
Many 2-pound burgers or what?
Heck yeah, man. Texas-sized burgers for a Texas-sized party.
Wow. When Eric is checking this thing out, I can tell he's just amazed by what he's seeing right now. Check out the... I can't believe how much sound those put out. It's unbelievable.
Overall, I am just totally blown away. I asked him to go crazy with it, and this is just totally over the top. Built in. This is crazy. Thank you for everything. This thing's freaking awesome.
You got it, man.
I'm bringing it out to SEMA, Glamis. I'm going to put it out front of my shop up in New Hampshire. We're just going to have a party everywhere we go. Party on wheels. Thanks for everything.
Mm-hmm. The front suspension on the 2017 F350 is in way better shape than the rest of it. But we still have to clean up the shoddy metalwork before we even think about sending this out with our name on it.
All we're trying to do here is knock the high spots out of it. We're not trying to make it smooth and grind it to where it's going to be paintable. They're going to come back and put some body filler on it and be ready to paint.
Well, Tim did a great job grinding it off and cleaning it up for us. The next step that we will do, we'll come down with some Bondo. One nice trick that I've learned is for curves like these. You might just rub the Bondo on your finger like this, run it across, and you get a flatter surface that blends into the curve. And there comes the sanding next, which I'm finna start off with 36 grit, and then come back with 80 and finish it off. Now we're getting ready to prime it. The good thing about the primer is you'll be able to see some of the imperfections that are around here. Scratches from the 36, stuff like that will have to get addressed again. So there's no going back. Here, it has to be done right, no matter what.
You guys did a great job on this. This thing's looking good. Ready to blow this thing apart and get it painted and coated, huh? Mm-hmm.
What the? What is it? A bolt water and another bolt. Just when I think I've seen it all. This bolt's function was to hold this hanger to the frame, but I don't know what that bolt's function was. That's something new to me. That's custom. I guess we got a new berry for the tree.
Now we got everything stripped down. We're gonna send it out to powder coat, send the rest of the body work. In a couple days, we put it back together.
So where are these going?
Gotta find a new branch. Years ago, there used to be a big tree in the back of the lot, and everything we've cut off just get thrown around this tree. Eventually, a big storm came, knocked that whole tree down. Was coming up, started welding up here, and that's how the tree of shame got started. All this is stuff that other shops have done that we felt was unsafe. So then over the years, as you added another piece, another piece, another piece, it's now growing like an oak tree. It's just growing up and up and up. True to form today, it just grows a little bit bigger, gets a couple more branches onto it.
I think that's it. Shoot, 20 more years, it'll be as tall as the other one?
Maybe taller.
5 years?
5 years.
All right, well, shoot. Let's get back to it.
Bring this in.
Got that, right? I know somebody got that.
You know, there's a lot of work had to be done in this big blue F350, but now's the time to give it back to CJ and his family.
Art Museum.
It's a cool spot, huh?
It is. I like the murals and everything, but you gave me a call, and I don't think we're here to look at paintings.
Definitely not going to look at paintings today. Got something else for you to look at.
Yeah.
You ready to check this thing out?
I'm ready to check it out.
CJ has a whole 350 to join the team.
It's hauling! Man, that's crazy. I love it. That looks good. Hell yeah, man. God.
I know it's been a while since you've seen that.
It has, man. That looks so good. That is a killer setup. Killer setup. That's gonna look awesome at shows. Hey!
Hey!
My wife's here. Surprise! What a surprise. Awesome work. Looks good.
Thank you.
Look who it is.
Little one, what's up? Bill had the whole family here, the whole fleet, and it was just super cool.
CJ, when this thing came in, you know, you couldn't even drive it, much less put this thing to work. Once we started getting into this thing, tearing it apart, it was just nightmare after nightmare.
Like opening a can of worms. It just never stopped. We went from front to back and got it rolling further now.
Safety wasn't a big concern with the last shop, I guess.
As you can see right now, problem solved. All in the car.
Yep.
You see on the front axle was just garbage.
Yeah, it was bad.
It just looked like it was going to fall apart any second. We ground off all the old welds, re-welded everything, body worked and painted, made this thing look good. I mean, this thing's coming at you, you see it, so it's got to look good.
Yep.
And from that, you see the new 4-link bars going all the way back to the new bracketry on the axle. They had spliced together 4-link bars. Get that out of there.
Yeah.
That's all on our tree of shame.
Yeah. Looks good.
So we got it all bolted to the frame nice and strong, and we have tube work underneath there, connecting from side to side. Not just, you know, strong to do its job. It's got some style to it.
Definitely. And now it looks amazing. The tubing, the support, it's just good that he went through every inch of this truck to make sure that it was perfect.
far as the rear axle, we just started fresh, cut everything off, welded everything up, and just made you some cool bag mounts, 4-link mounts, and it's all artwork. It's a piece of art underneath there.
And now we get to haul with it.
That's it. Put it to work. You know, looking back on this project to see how bad it actually was to where it is now, you know, having to rebuild all the underneath of this thing to make it safe for CJ and his family, you know, it's just something we had to do. We had to make sure it's right.
Bill, man, you killed it. From the suspension, everything you touched, amazing work, amazing work. I get to haul, my family's safe in it. I couldn't be happier, man. To be able to use this truck and have my family with me on these trips is awesome. I feel safe, and I have a very reliable truck to get from my house to each show.
You know, most of the time when you're building a project, you start fresh. You know, this project we get in A to C and ended up going all the way to Z. I mean, there's a bunch of hidden issues that we had to address. I mean, that's what we do. Make it safe, make it cool.
You're actually making something that no one else is making. No one else will make it. I cannot wait to see this.
What is this, man? This thing's huge. You know, it's a 1996 International 4700. You want to fix up a dump truck? Huh? This truck is the biggest and heaviest that we've done to date.
Everything on this thing was just pie cut and welded together.
This is way above par.
That's mine? Wow!
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16, and ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need, they come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. As you can see, we're really busy around here. The parking lot's always full. You know, each time, you know, starts and finish really quick. Sometimes, you know, a vehicle comes in and it gets put on pause. Life happens, right? So you just want to finish that thing. You want to get it out the door, but, you know, sometimes it doesn't happen like that. It eats at me for sure. You know, I mean, everybody sees it. You know, why is that there? What's going on with that? You know, eventually that thing will come back around. You get it going again. You finally get that thing finished. It's a definite sense of accomplishment. You know, me and Sean go way back since high school. We did a body drop back in '95 on his Chevy S10. Sean's been waiting to do another build for a while, and I think I finally have the right project for him.
This it? All right.
You know, the owner is just way too overwhelmed with this truck, so it's a perfect opportunity for Sean to buy it and take it over.
Man, I've always liked the unibody ever since I seen the one y'all built years ago.
Yeah, they're super rare. I mean, this is something, you see these body styles a lot, but nothing like that. I mean, it's unique. Most of this truck is a 1968 Chevy C10, but with a little twist. It's a 68 Chevy Caddy. We built a whole new frame, front to back, that's already built. There's new doors, new fenders. You know, there's a late model 5.3 in it, 24x10s, 24-15s in the back with a 9-inch in it that's already been narrowed. The old dash has been cut out and a 56 Chevy dash put in it. This thing is a perfect start for you because you can put your own personal touch on it, you know, with the right colors, right wheels, tires, and getting this thing running. It'd be a cool project.
I like the fact that there's a lot of stuff started on it, but I'm gonna be able to finish it my way, the way I want to do it.
I know how you like to color match.
Well, I mean, you got to keep my shirt and shoes matching, keep it fresh.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we can bring a little bit of color inside the interior, match the chassis color, and have a little contrast with the body color.
Yeah, I like that.
You know, I see Sean liking this thing. Hopefully he can see, you know, past all the work that had to be done and just see the vision for this project. You know, in the back of this thing, I think something that would be really cool to really set this thing apart even more would be building an aluminum bed cover on this. It just continues that smoothness all the way down from the front bumper all the way to the back.
Keep it real clean.
Exactly.
First time I saw Bill, first day of my freshman year of high school, he pulled up in his long bed, lowered
square body Chevy truck. I was like, man, I don't know who that is, but we got to get in with him. Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's go.
Everybody that has a car shop, automotive repair shop, custom shop, there's always a project or two that's sitting around back that just doesn't quite get finished. This one's no different. Project like this, they snowball into dreaming big. And when you dream big, sometimes your pocketbook can't hang with the dreams. You come in for one thing, next thing you know, you're building a chassis for it, changing the motor, and totally stripping it down to where you're at. You know, this is a prime example for that. Digging it out of the back and getting going on it, man. I've got high hopes for it.
So the rumor's true?
You got it, man. You know, my boy Sean's taking it over.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to dig this thing out and get this thing going and finish it up. New owner, new plan. You know, a normal C10 truck has the body and then the bed totally separated. You know, we made this thing a unibody. We welded bed sides right to the cab, a custom tailgate skin, smooth bed floor, a 56 Chevy dash, and a 68 front end. You know, we got a work to be done. I mean, just from the front of this thing, you know, getting the grill, all the sheet metal back on this thing and seeing what we have, what we still need to get. New glass all the way around, flush mount, you know, something that looks really nice. So you already know Sean's style. You know, every time he comes in, he's got to have the shirt and shoes matching. You know,
so we're gonna paint it yellow wheels with green trim on it. They're typically his favorite colors.
You know, Sean's got to coordinate, so interior is going to match the engine, chassis, you know, make everything color coordinate, which leads to the bed, which me and you, buddy, are going to build a bed cover for this thing out of aluminum, you know, flush with the top of the bed, something that just makes this thing slick all the way from the front to the back.
I mean, it's crazy to think you unibodied this thing 7 years ago.
It's been a minute.
7-year build.
This thing has a ton of work and a ton of memories in it. You know, we got a huge head start. We still have a lot of challenges in front of us for sure. Me and you start doing the bed cover in the back.
All right. I want to see where we get the head start from.
The custom bed cover we're making is going to sit flush with the top of the bed, but it's also going to open and close. So I had Jesse make some cool custom hinges.
Did all right.
He did good, man. I know this thing's a pain in the butt to make, man. It takes forever. Rudy, the first thing we need to do is make a brace from side to side that holds the hinges. All we have to do is weld it in place and start building our bed cover.
All right, so the first thing I got to do is cut down my 1.5 square tubing to fit inside the bed. Then we'll go ahead and start making our modifications inside the square tubing so we can fit our new bed cover hinges. Got my tabs tacked in. Looks like it's going to be right where we need it. Our hinge is giving us enough lift and enough articulation, so this thing is ready to go.
Man, this is exactly what we needed, Rudy. This metal work that's already was here is a little inconsistent. That'll create a lot of body work later, so why don't we just cap it with a piece of sheet metal to go from this edge all the way over and then down and have a little lip out here. Then it'll be laser straight all the way around this thing. Then we'll have a nice bed for the bed cover to sit right onto. We'll just cut this sucker here. This is going to make for a lot faster installation, and you know, there's little ways to make things easier. You learn as you go, you know, all the little tricks of the trade. One thing we learned is not just tacking, looking down it, stepping back and maneuvering. Use a straight edge. So we're clamping a straight edge. We know it's straight both ways, this way and that way. There's no second guess. There's no wondering if it's right. You know exactly. You can just tack down it, keep rolling, go to the next step, and this is just one little trick of the trade.
So before we slap our aluminum sheet metal on top, we need to build a frame for this thing. We don't want the sheet metal going all wonky on us when we're opening it up. So that's why we place these ribs across so we can use it to simulate the bottom of the sheet metal. So all I have to do is just mark it, take the hinge off, trim it, come back and put it on, and get my actual frame piece. tack them up, and then we'll move on from there. Got my hinges marked up, so all we're gonna do now is take them off, go ahead and trim them up. I left enough room on the bottom and back side of the hinge so we get enough weld on there, give us enough strength to hold this bed cover. All right, we'll get our top rib here to simulate our aluminum sheet metal. Push the hinges all the way up, make full contact with them.
That's good, Rudy. Very, very good. This is the most critical stage of making everything right. That way the gaps stay perfect, everything stays the same all the way around, and you don't damage paint when it goes up and down 20 times. So this should be closed, and we'll open that sucker up. Works good. I mean, just to this point is a ton of work that nobody's ever gonna know, but if this isn't right, that affects everything else. So now the rest is just work. You know, just like any part of a project, you gotta have a plan. And our plan on this is building from the inside out. So we need to build all the framework first, make sure all the kinks are worked out before we put the final little skin on the top of it. We finished welding out the bed cover frame on the C10 unibody. You know, to make sure this thing has plenty of room to close, we're going to shave off the top of the wheel tubs.
All right, so now we got our bed cover mocked up. Everything fits nice and good. The only issue we're seeing is there isn't that much clearance between the bed cover and the wheel well. So what we're going to do here, fill it back in nice and flat, and that's going to give us plenty of clearance between the wheel well and the bed cover. I got my lines drawn out of how much I want to cut off. I'm anticipating that this 4-inch cut off the top of this round wheel well, probably going to take it down about a 1/4 inch. Next step is make my nice flat pieces out of 16 gauge sheet metal. I'm just trying to straighten out my panels here because obviously we went from a curved edge to what's now going to be a straight edge. So I just want to make sure and get my sheet metal nice and flat so whenever I put my flat piece in, we get a good, nice transition from curved to flat. So as I'm tacking my filler piece in, I'm using these super strong magnets. This helps me make a nice flat top as I'm applying pressure to my filler piece to my round fender well. All I have to do is fully weld it all out, grind it smooth, and this baby's all done. Let's see how much clearance we got. So this would be the bottom of our aluminum. Looks all good. So now, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the frame on there, skin it with the aluminum.
When you've been building custom trucks as long as I have, you kind of get in the habit of saying this is going to be a big build. There are big builds and there's just huge builds. And yeah, there's a difference. Today I'm out here at Ocean Corp to see my boy John Wood. What's happening, John?
Oh, hey, Bill, how are you?
You know, John runs a training school for underwater welders and commercial divers.
Hey, man, how you doing?
What's happening, man? Yeah.
Good to see you, man.
What is this, man? This thing's huge. Where'd you get this thing at?
I bought it from Florida Highway Department. It was an asphalt truck.
You want to fix up a dump truck?
Huh?
Man. You know, it's a 1996 International 4700. You know, that's usually used for hauling, commercial applications, or even as a dump truck. You know, I can say for sure we never customized one of these. For starters, I don't even think we have a lift big enough for this.
I just liked the look of it. I thought this is kind of like the world's first jumbo pickup truck.
We got an old highway department dump truck that you want to make cool.
Yes, sir. That's it.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, that's it. That's no lift for you. You can do anything. I got the inspiration. I wanted a big, kind of funny monster military high water vehicle, and I liked the shape of the crew cab on this truck.
What are you going to use this thing for?
Marketing for the company. I want to be able to skid mount diving stuff for NDT stuff. Somebody can do with a little creativity with a fun truck, and it'll be a toy too. I mean, you can't minimize the toy value.
Right, right. Man, let's check out the back of this thing.
Check this thing out.
Yeah, this got to go.
Yeah.
Just take this whole dump bed off and just
just start fresh, right? Shorten the wheelbase, put some air suspension on it, make you a nice new bed, something you can take on and off, easily.
Can't forget the cool factor, though. It's got to be cool.
Well, for sure.
I'd like the dump truck to attract attention. I want it to be cool above all. It's got to be flashy and fun and interesting and different. It's got to be different.
What's in the inside of this thing?
Oh, that's a different story.
Man, there's a whole lot of ugly and yellow.
Yeah.
Man, John, once you pull up in this thing, it's going to draw a crowd immediately. When you open the door on this,
no, you
can't have this.
Can't have that.
We got to start off by, covering these seats, putting some carpet in this thing, make it look a lot better. Something you can show off. What's under the hood?
Big diesel. What more do you want?
Sure, how many miles on this thing?
120,000. So that's not
Ain't
bad.
even broke in yet.
No.
This is a turbocharged 444E. It's a million miles. Maybe get rid of the water hose and the electrical tape.
I kind of like that electric tape hanger. That's kind of nice, yeah.
Let's look at the front of this thing.
I tell you, you're not digging on my school bus yellow.
Man, we got to get rid of this.
No bueno.
No. You thinking of any colors or anything you want to see on this?
Whatever you think is going to pop and be interesting and fun and exciting.
So you're trusting me on this one?
Pretty much.
I'll come up with something cool for sure, man.
Yeah.
For sure. Man, this is going to be a fun little project, man. The only thing is, this thing isn't going to fit on my record.
No.
I guess I'll see you at the shop. Huh?
You want me to sneak it over there?
Yeah. Extensive has worked on a ton of vehicles over the years, like Kodiaks, F650s, a lot of big vehicles, but this truck is the biggest and heaviest that we've done to date. Dealing with the size and weight of this vehicle adds to the challenge of the whole overall build. One of the first things you do before you even get started tearing anything apart is just taking into consideration the jacks you have to use, the jack stands, the impacts that you use on a vehicle this heavy. Not to mention, picking the right suspension, building the 4-link heavy enough, the lift high enough and sturdy enough to hold. I think I'm absolutely crazy. They already do anyway. This is probably going to prove it.
What in the world we got here now? Ain't no telling. We gotta climb up this thing? Why do we have a dump truck?
This old Mr. Wood's new project, unique guy. Want something unique?
True John Wood fashion. He's always had some crazy idea of what he wanted.
Well, that's the problem. We got a dump truck, but he doesn't want a dump truck. Oh, Mr. Wood wants something just to go anywhere, do anything, all-purpose, militaristic, cool-looking truck. First thing we'll do is dump the dump bed. It's got an extra long wheelbase. We're going to shorten the wheelbase, bring it down to a 60-inch cabbed axle, and put a stake bed on it. We definitely got to upgrade the suspension on this thing, give it a nice look. Just get the stance right with the militaristic wheels and tires, helper bags on the back so he can still haul whatever he wants to haul. Get the mechanics right underneath the hood. Somebody had some creative fixes underneath the hood, make sure all that's right and do something with the interior. There's a whole lot of ugly inside this thing right here.
That reminds me of my old high school bus. I bet it smells like your high school bus too. I've been trying to forget that smell for years.
Let's get this thing in front of the shop. Let's get it all tore down. Just get this thing as light. As is, the International weighs well north of 10,000 pounds, which is past the top capacity of our lift. So I'm going to have little one cut off the bed and boxes, and hopefully it'll get us right under.
We're about to cut off this dump truck bed with a torch. It's too much thick plate, too many old bolts. It's better to just get rid of it with some nice fire. It's a good thing we got forklifts so we can get the bed up and we can see exactly what we gotta cut. Yeah, I gotta get that pin out to release the hydraulic cylinder and get this damn bed off. Free at last.
When we pull the bed off most trucks, we can just manually lift it. But we got to get creative to lift this bed and just lift it safely.
Took 2 forklifts, a little bit of fire, and some help. We got the dump bed off. Now it's time to get these boxes off. I like
to live life on the edge. It's stripped away from the truck. Now we gotta see what this thing weighs.
You know, this lift is rated for a maximum 10,000 pounds. So we're gonna take the extra precaution of have this thing weighed so we know exactly what we're working with before we even put it on the lift. And if it's still too heavy, we're gonna have to go back to the cutting board. Anytime you take on a model vehicle that you've never worked with before, especially the size of this international dump truck, is going to create all new challenges for us. What that means in reality, we got to do a lot of setup work before we even start to build.
Got some bad news.
10,020.
Yeah, we're 20 over.
But you weighed it with you in there, right?
Right.
So you weigh about 120, something like that. So we're 100 pounds under.
We're good to go then.
You know, our lift's rated for 10,000 pounds. We got 9,920 pound truck. So we're about to put it to the test and see if it's really rated for what that sticker says right now. 15 inches.
15?
15. You know, pushing and pulling on it, its weight can shift, especially with something this size. It can get really dangerous really quick. So we're welding 15-inch extensions from the frame directly to the lift, so this thing won't move anywhere.
I need a favor, amigo. Oh, I need a welder like that.
You know, with a build this big, you have to build parts to be able to build the parts to be able to build it big.
Vayas con Dios. So just like life, everything has to be in balance. The ideal spot for the extensions to go is where the lift is centered to the cab, so the weight of the engine doesn't rock forward and the weight of the rear doesn't rock back. All right, moment of truth finally. We're gonna get this thing in the air. It's 10,000 pounds, 10,000 pound lift. We should be good. I'm gonna double check the front. I'm a little nervous. I gotta make sure that everything's good before I go up in the air and 10,000 pounds over me. I'll get crushed like a little L1 pancake. That's good. I'll wear comfortable right there. There's a lot of weight up here. Everything we do from here on out has to be very particular so that we make sure we don't go too much overweight or overweight at all. It's hard. One tiny mistake and we're gonna have a huge problem.
We made the bed cover hinges, frame, and skin for the 68 unibody. Now Rudy and I can install the struts. Think that's gonna work, man? Cool, it ought to get plenty of height. I know they're gonna be strong enough.
Oh yeah.
You look like you're skiing right there.
All right, guys.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Good work, Jesse. It's good, man. Thank you.
All right, man. See you guys' hands now.
Let's see if them shocks work. Man, looks good, man. There's plenty of room. Backpack, cooler.
Tote full of shoes. He'll be happy about that.
Yeah, his whole lineup of shoes. That'll work good, man. Well, you know, last thing, getting the skin on. Once the skin's on, that's it. You know, the old truck's been sitting around the shop for a couple of years. You know, it's really good to get it back out, get it going again, get this thing finished up. I mean, it's going to be a really cool truck once it's all done. For support off and start screwing the metal down. There's nothing to hold the frame perfectly flat. So we're just putting a couple of little spacers in here. So then when we put our sheet on it, we can put pressure drilling down and it's not going to push our frame down, leave it sagging down like that.
Man, for once, it's starting to look like a complete truck, huh?
Yeah, looking good, man. We pre-marked where the bottom framework is, so we're just marking so we know where the center of the frame is on the sheet. So we're gonna pre-drill the sheet, run tech screws in it so everything fits nice and tight. And then we can pull the whole thing off, and then we can get Jesse to TIG it to the framework so it's one complete bed cover then. This thing will be ready for body work. You know, Chevy never made a C10 truck with a cab welded to the bed. You know, it took a lot of work getting here. But to make all those lines look right, it's going to take a lot of body work. And with everything we got going on at the shop, we're going to need some help. We're going to need some help bad. Man.
What's up, dog? Good to see you.
You know, it's not every day you can just pick up the phone and call one of the best body and paint guys around. And him just get in his truck and trailer is a true friend.
Man, you saved me once again, man. I mean, I know Tennessee hidden right around the corner.
Man, it was right down the street, you know what I mean? 12 hours around the corner, but we got it. You know what I mean? What you want to do with this one this time?
I just want to start totally fresh with this thing.
Bare metal up.
Blast it, spray it, make the gaps right. Make this thing look good. Make us look good.
You got it, man. That's what we do.
Thank you.
You know, Zane's going to give this truck a lot of attention at his shop and then bring it right back to us.
This is a tremendous amount of work. This thing's been here since I first started hanging out. And it's just sat outside and been neglected for all these years. You know, I mean, it's super cool to see it finally getting, you know, the love that it deserves. I'm just going to hammer down, drive through the night, and get back home so we can get going on this thing first thing Monday morning.
While the C10 unibody is getting bodyworked by Zane, John's going to create a seamless look on the inside of the cab with a handmade speaker box.
With it being a unibody truck, we're going to take the subwoofer box and actually build it into the truck and mold it in so there's no seams or anything. It'll all be part of the truck and we'll wrap it all as one piece. We'll do some router work. We're going to make some trim rings, some base plates, stack this thing up, give it some depth, some contour, work it in so it's not just a mud work. The important thing here is to lay it as smooth as you possibly can so you don't have to sand as much. It's probably one of my least favorite things to do, but one of the things that I have to do the most. What we'll do now is we'll just take that and let that round dry, and then we'll finish out the other side and it should come out pretty easy.
We put a lot of different truck components together to make this C10 unibody. So all the bodywork has to be on point to make this thing perfect. Our guys in Dunlap, Tennessee are doing just that.
Pretty big day at the shop. Tons of bodywork going into this thing. We had the truck all blasted down to bare metal. The guys built the bed cover from scratch. Very nice stuff. So what we're going to do now is just perfect what they had already started. So what we're doing now is taping off the jam to get the bed cover to meet the bed sides. It's a little low in a couple of spots that a little light filler will take care of. Don't be afraid to use tape. Using tape doesn't make you not cool. It makes you smart because you're not having to create more work for yourself taking all this Bondo out of these jams that are already straight. It's not broke, so don't fix it. Wiping a panel this big, you've got to do it in sections just so you can concentrate on over here instead of all of this all at once. So we're going to move into, when you look across the top of it, it just looks like it just came that way. We round all of our edges off. Paint won't stick to a hard, sharp edge. So we're coming through and make sure we keep those round. We got pretty much the majority of the bed cover bodywork, so we're going to use this little gap checker here. This is going to tell us how big the gap is and make sure that it's straight all the way down. We've got a 4 all the way down, so this tells us that the bed cover is evenly gapped all the way down the bedside. This beats eyeballing. This takes all the guessing game out of it. Spend you a couple bucks, get you one of these to make sure that your gaps are perfect. So now what we're going to do is get it off of the truck, do a little bit of final sand in there, pick it apart, make sure we didn't miss nothing, and get this thing in primer.
Because this frame on the International dump truck is so long, we can't even close the bay door. It just sticks out. So for now, Little One's going to relocate the axle and make a rough cut to the frame. You know, we'll finalize the length of the frame, then we'll cap it.
Because we got to move the rear axle forward, we got to take apart the whole leaf springs, back half of the drive shaft, all these hydraulic hoses, wiring. Once it's all done, we'll be able to close the door and get our shoulder wheel. We're going to slide the whole assembly together. That's better. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You got a big truck, short wheelbase. That's cool as hell.
Yo!
What's happening, man? You doing good?
Man, I'm doing good. How's things down there?
Couldn't be better.
Hey, it's color time.
You got it.
Sean wants his C10 unibody to be painted white. You know, a white truck is difficult to really stand out from a crowd. So I asked Zane to come up with something really special for this white and put a little something extra in the mix.
I'm gonna go to work.
Thank you.
You know, days like today, you know, we're really excited to get to do something different. There's so many colors out there that it's hard to stand out and be different. It's something else, man. It's gonna blow them away.
This is Lumicoat. What it does is it just crushed mirrors. It reflects the light in low light conditions so you can see it more clearly.
So when the light hits this at nighttime, like it's just gonna glow like the emergency stickers and stuff.
Like a street light. In the daylight, they'll knock your eyes out.
At nighttime, this will knock your eyes out.
It will.
This is pretty nasty, you know what I mean?
It's pretty cool.
I'm freaking pumped, man. Let's get this thing painted. Yeah, I've been doing this a long time, so it's like fun to be impressed by something. Nothing wows us anymore. You know, it's usually the same stuff, different day. I cannot wait to see this.
It's been a little over a month since Zane started working on the C10. And today's the day he's bringing it back. And I get to see this thing in person.
What it do?
What's happening? I really appreciate you taking this on, man.
You know, I love my away games at your place, but we got to do this one at home, and I think we knocked it out of the park.
Man, I'm ready to check this thing out.
Let's open it up.
Man. Woo. Turn right a little bit. Turn left a little bit. There you go.
What you think about it?
Man, this thing looks better than good. Looks like it's been dipped.
This is the brightest white that we could have possibly put on it with little crushed mirror flakes in it. I mean, this thing just dances in the sunlight.
Sean can't not like this thing.
And if Sean don't like it, call me. I'll be the first one to buy it.
All right, I know you're ready to get back.
I'm out of here.
We got a lot to do to it now, too. It's been a few years since we built the custom chassis and suspension for this truck. We're going to pull it all apart and powder coat it a dark red to contrast this white. Everything still looks good. A couple little things we'll change up and freshen up and make it just like brand new, but this thing's gonna start coming together here real soon. While the frame's at the powder coat, he's working on some custom kick panels.
You know, there's a lot of different ways we can go with these kick panels, but the main thing is that we make sure the design kind of flows with the rest of the truck. We have the carpet that's going to be on the bottom of our doors, so we want to continue that into here, and then make a cool little shape that's going to kind of match the rest of the vehicle that's going to hold our speakers. Now we rough cut that, set up the router, and go to town. Puzzle, man. So we kind of set it up. We got our base, we got our baffle for our speakers, and we got our trim ring that goes up here. The speaker's actually going to mount from the rear in there just like that. So we can build this whole thing on the table. We'll fill in this back area right around. Just slightly score this on the back side, allow it to bend without. All right, we got it all wrapped around with our panel board here. Now all we got to do is get it all mudded up, wrap it, and we're done with these kicks.
Since I'm actually going to take this box and mold it in and make it part of the truck, what we're going to do is take this, make it solid one piece, get this screwed into place, and then we'll come in with some panel board and start molding this thing in. We're going to actually wrap the whole back of the truck with the box and all at one time, so there's no seam, just kind of follow along with the idea of the unibody. So now we'll just start making pieces to get the sides filled in. So what I'll do is I'll use some chipboard. There'll be no separation from the body to the box all the way around to the back of this truck, so that'll look pretty cool. When I look at a space that I'm trying to design out and figure out what's going on with it, just kind of keep in mind body lines, the style cues, and things like that from the vehicle, and just kind of incorporate that into what you're building, and just let it kind of flow through and just create something, because you're actually making something that no one else is making. No one else will make it. It's one of a kind. You're just putting your own spin and your own thought to these things, so there's really no wrong way to go about it as long as you get to the final product that you're after.
The frame and suspension are back from powder coat on the C10 unibody. Man, this thing looks even better than I thought it would. You know, with an all-white truck, it's really, really important to pick an accent color that's really going to stand out. We definitely achieved that. I mean, this is way above par. I mean, this red is actually a couple of colors in one. It's got a chrome base over a transparent red, and it really, really, really looks good.
We hand-built this frame years ago. Now, to get all the components on the chassis and watch it go up and down with the motor on it, something I didn't think I was going to see. This was just a stock piece of 2x3, 2x4. Everything on this thing was just pie cut and welded together, and it just gives you a great pride knowing that it's rolling down the road 80, 90 miles an hour, carrying somebody's family next to you, and it's just rolled real good. Now we have the mock-up wheels on. We have a complete rolling chassis.
What do you think, buddy? Does it look good?
After so many years of waiting, I can't tell you how satisfying it is to see this truck finally come together. Mountain glass, custom wheels and tires, and finally, it's time to give this thing a new home.
I was 22 when I first started welding. I had a friend call me. They said, "Hey man, you want to come weld?" And from there, I began MIG welding carbon steel. Then moved up from there to MIG welding aluminum. Then from MIG welding aluminum to TIG welding aluminum. Just worked my way up. I grew up here in Houston, just right down here from the shop, about 5 minutes away. As a kid, growing up, hearing about Bill, I always heard he was the best man at bagging trucks. I mean, I used to come with my friends, check out the shop, come out by all the time. Then years passed, and never in my life did I think I would ever be here working for Bill. One of my favorite builds that were done here at the shop was Marco's red Z01 Camaro. It was aluminum chassis, and man, I got to take the whole thing out. It took me hours, but it was done right. When I see like a build that I worked on the road, I always tell my wife, "Hey, look, I welded that part on it, I welded this on it, I welded the gas tank on it." It never gets old, man. I love it. I just love welding.
Man, that place always hits the spot, man. I'm so full, I don't even want to go back to work. I don't know what you're about to do.
I'll get back there eventually.
You know, it's always good to finish a project up, especially when one's been lingering around the shop for so long. And what really tops it off is finishing the build for a good friend of yours.
Got to get over here and work on some of this stuff you got sitting around the parking lot.
Right? We got to get this parking lot cleared out. That's always a struggle.
For 30 years, I've been going over here. The parking lot ain't never been cleared out.
Right? I got some work I want you to check out real quick. I want your opinion on something.
You want me to give you my opinion?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see what you got. Oh.
I want you to check this out.
All right. Well, let me see what you got. That's mine? Oh, wow.
Been a minute, huh?
Been a while. Man, this is awesome.
You know, last time you seen this truck, it was just basically a rolling chassis and a body on it.
Yeah.
It's 100% now.
Well, unibody, that was the whole reason I liked the truck. I knew that this is what it would turn out like.
With the cab and bed welded together, that really makes this truck look super smooth. It just adds to the whole custom look of this thing. You know, people just gonna look at it and go, "Man, that's a cool looking truck." It took to make that.
Oh yeah, they'll know. And it's something different that you just don't see out there.
You know, from where it was to what it is now, man, it's night and day. From the roll pan, you know, to the 68 front end, to the nice smooth hood, you know, no wipers, no cowl vents. That's all been shaved. To the front glass, all flush, man. You know, Carmen hooked us up with the A&N hot rod glass, makes us a nice windshield, nice back glass with no rubber. So it makes this whole thing look modern. And then down to the bed cover me and Rudy built for you. You know, it's just something you don't see on these trucks, and it just finishes the whole thing off and just makes the unibody part look super smooth.
I mean, the way this thing sits on the ground, I mean, that's phenomenal.
You know, that just doesn't happen with the air suspension. It has to be a chassis specially made, you know, to make a vehicle go this low. You know, added these brand new wheels and tires, 24x8s in the front, 24x14s in the rear, with huge brakes on this thing.
Man, the chrome polish, 24-inch wheels, the way it sets off the truck, man, it all goes together so good.
And white, white is super hard to pull off. My boy Zane stepped in. He told me if I ever need anything, give him a call. That's exactly what I did. And you see, Zane got down on it.
Did an awesome job.
Right? It's not only just white, but it's got metallic and a pearl in there, so it really stands out.
You can actually see the metallic in the light. See the shine on it.
Check this out.
Oh, yeah. That's nice.
Right?
I like that.
Once we got it back from Zane, blew everything apart and just started by powder coating all the suspension, all the frame, all the components to go with that. It's a chrome powder coat with transparent red over it, so it really gives it that anodized look. Yeah. And when the sun hits it, man, it just kind of blinds you.
This thing's definitely a show truck now.
And it's a late model 5.3 LT, so it's got plenty of power in here too. Man, let's check out the interior on this thing.
That's nice.
Right?
Man, so clean.
John and Heath really got down on this from top to bottom, from the new headliner to the carpet, the custom-made door panels. There's subs in the back, the kick panels. This thing gets down to, the seats, the console, the all-metal 56 Chevy dash. It's got the Dakota digital gauges. So when you start this thing, everything lights up. It looks like a brand new late model car.
It don't even look like a dash. It looks like a spaceship. Well, the guys did an awesome job. They did great.
Sean, just another example of my team coming together, creating something.
The first vehicle you built for me, and it won't be the last. Man, thank you.
After years of just being passed around, moved from bay to bay to bay, stuff piled on it, finally unpiling everything off the top, getting back to work, and finally finishing this thing up, it really feels good. Need your help again, buddy? We need some hangers for the International over there, so I need something, pretty beefy. One of the things we're learning on this 1996 International is how many extra steps it takes to even start working on a truck this size. This would be the whole mounting point for the whole rear suspension. Once this is made, we get it bolted on, everything will come off of that. Heavy enough, huh?
All boxed in, all the way around.
5/16 plate, this is plenty of strong. This heavy of a truck, gets stuck in the mud, a little bit of wheel hop, these things aren't gonna go anywhere. Sit this bolts up. Man, them things look good. That is exactly what we need to hold all this weight. This is what makes me excited. Taking on the unknown and flexing our creative muscles. To do something.
A little bit of powder coat on these things, we'll be right.
We got the hangers done. Let's get the tabs on the rear end. And then we can start building the 4-link. We'll build bag mounts, shock mounts. Then we're again. And then you throw Campbell's name on top of this. The NFL legend. Nah, there's no pressure there. This is a 1940 F100. How's this thing ride? Like a buck horse? Looking at this frame, there's just no saving it. Just turned into a full frame makeover. Some things snowball. This is pretty much an avalanche. Check this thing out.
Ah, there we go.
I'm Bill Carlton. I built my first truck when I was 16. And ever since, me and my guys have been out here creating with our hands. Building the biggest, lowest, baddest custom trucks and cars in the game. People don't come here for what they need. They come here for what they want. This is Texas Metal. You pick up, you expect to go get a car, a whole car. As you can see, this definitely isn't the case. We have a body, frame, and parts. Crates and crates of parts. Apparently, whoever had this car last took it apart and didn't really know what to do, how to finish this. God, dog, there's some shit in here.
You know, it's not like this project isn't out of our realm, but in a situation like this, you don't know what you got until you really start putting this thing together and seeing what you don't have. You know, a project this size is a lot of work, but no matter what we have to do, it's all going to be worth it, especially for the client we're building for here. Man, you told me you had a 1949 Cadillac. I got boxes of a 1949 Cadillac.
Well,
Earl Campbell was maybe one of the toughest players I've ever seen.
Born and played in Texas, around Houston, he's more than a Hall of Famer. He's a legend.
I tell you, I'm here because after I saw Slim Thug, that Cadillac you did, so I better get that 49 on over here. I like the color wheels, I like the stands, I like that air suspension on it. And when I get there, this is who can build my 49 Cadillac.
Hey, I was real
Jersey.
You know, with the black.
Ooh, it's hot. I'm gonna use some more. That's plenty.
Keeping all this together is real critical, especially like on a 49 Cadillac. You don't just find passenger door parts just at your hardware store.
You know, most of the time when a car comes in, it's complete. Then you take it apart and you start building. In this case, all the parts are crammed in the car, crammed in boxes, crammed everywhere. We don't know what we're even working with. So first things first, we have to lay it all out and to see where to start with this whole puzzle. This is my first time ever putting a 49 Cadillac together, and we don't even know if all the pieces are there. So that's what we're figuring out now, how many pieces we're missing, so we can start assembling the car.
Have Ryan put the front end on just to really see what we're looking like. We have to build the car in order to take the car apart to build the car again. So, you know, we're already 10 steps back. I'll throw Campbell's name on top of this. Nah, there's no pressure there. What up, fellas?
What up, man?
What's happening?
You ready to get this thing going?
Mm-hmm. We're just talking about how the front end made a huge difference on this car.
Man, it's a cool car. Cool body style, the 49 Cadillac. You know, we've never built one of these, but, you know, ain't no problem.
Nah.
It's a real cool car for a real cool guy that I'm honored to be able to get to work on this car for him. What I want to do is build something just unique to show everyone this is how Extensive does it. Full custom chassis, air suspension, and the biggest wheel possible on this thing. Full custom interior, wants to bring his Texas colors inside the car. You know how we do.
Oh, yeah.
We got to put some power in this thing. I want him to get behind the wheel and just keep scared for a minute. You know what I mean? The end result is just going to be, wow. Yeah. That's what we want. Let's put a little bit more of the car together to really see what we're working with. The little stuff, we're not a restoration shop, so we're not trying to put every part and piece back on this thing the way it came from the factory. We're in the making cool-ass car business, and that's what we're going to do. So first things first, let's get this up at a good working height, the front fenders. We'll start building chassis. Y'all ready to get to it?
Let's do it. Yeah, dude. As you can see, I got a nice little rust patch here, same as the other side. I just grinded it just so I can see how much of it was good and what was bad. As you can see, this is just built up rust from over the years. This is where all the water sits, you know? It's everything that runs down the car on the inside and everything. Water has nowhere to go. It sits there and it just sits and sits and sits and ends up eating through everything. And this is a common place for rust repair. This, cab corners, anything like that, very typical. See, this thing is pretty pitted and rusted up. I'm going to cut it out and replace this as well.
The on Earl Campbell's 49 Cadillac, we're designing and making a one-off frame.
You know, anytime we're starting a chassis, the first thing we do is determine where the ground is going to sit.
Pull it tight, just real quick.
You know, 9 times out of 10, we want those things flat on the ground. So we build the frame tucked up underneath the car. That way it can ride lower, sit lower, and just overall look cooler.
You use a string line to simulate where the ground's going to be. So that's what we're doing right now to figure out a couple little clearance measurements, and then we'll kind of go from there to get a game plan on the frame.
1/4 inch back.
Okay, that is center. The next thing we measure for is length. So we've determined where we want the end of the frame, 37 1/4. And just come up with all them measurements, transfer it to the table. So we'll have all our templates to go cut our material. Last little piece there, we're ready to start cutting. Not every project comes into the shop in pieces like Earl's Caddy, thank goodness. But sometimes we get the complete opposite. A truck that looks almost no matter. Hey, good morning.
Hello, Bill. Chris, how you doing?
Hey, nice to meet you. It's a cool little truck you got. This is a 1940 F100 Ford pickup. Whoever worked on this before kept its original styling, but still gave it a little custom look.
Had it about 4 years now. Bought it from a friend of mine out of Dallas. Wife always liked farm trucks, and he had one.
It's a cool looking truck. It's definitely got the farm feel here. Did you buy this, just like this?
Pretty much. The only thing I've done is put tires on it.
So you've been driving it pretty regularly?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
We put thousands of miles on it, using it to go on car show trips. Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi.
Think pretty comfortable inside?
Not at all.
Yeah, I can definitely see what you mean. It's cramped in here. It must be brutal riding this thing across the country.
It is. For the driver, it's pretty bad. Definitely kills your back.
What we need to do, Chris, is just tear everything in here out and just start over. Let's maximize every inch of space and give you as much room as possible so we can make it as comfortable for you as can be.
Right.
How's this thing ride?
Like a buck horse. So that's a problem too.
You and your wife have been traveling, putting yourself through that misery.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Air suspension on this thing just solve all those issues.
Good, that's what we're looking for.
Chris, what you got back here?
Well, that's a Ford with the heartbeat of a Chevy.
What do you got in the hood of this thing?
Man, it's an old Chevy 327.
Let's check it out. Oh, small block, huh?
Yeah.
Most people like to keep that secret, but old Chris is proud of it. He likes that Chevy heartbeat in the Ford truck. How's this thing run?
Well, it runs okay, but it definitely has a drinking problem. I don't have to change oil, I just add it at every trip.
Well, there's a couple ways we can do this. We can just do a little surgery on this thing, freshen it up, or just do a total transplant and just pull this thing out. Just putting a late model LS in this thing, something really dependable with a lot of power, that'd be real cool in it.
That'll work. I was thinking about rebuilding this motor, but you might as well just go all the way, replace the motor, and that way it's more dependable, easy ride, and I still have the Ford and the Chevy all in one.
Let's go make it happen.
All right.
And when a truck like this comes in, you just think, man, that's cool. I mean, this truck is 70 years old, probably not around anymore. Man, it's really cool to get this in and keep people interested in vehicles like this and being able to put our own spin on it to even make it even cooler for the next generation to see and, and interest them. Chris has been in the rules a little bit, putting a Chevy engine in a Ford truck, but there's no rules to custom. You can change stuff, you can add this, add that, do it however you want it. That's the definition of custom. If Chris wants a Chevy engine on the Ford, we're going to give him exactly what he wants and then some.
So just so you guys know, I spotted something. That's a Chevy and a Ford. We're replacing the motor, right?
We're replacing the motor, but we're replacing it with the Chevy.
So Chris likes being the guy known to drive a Ford with a Chevy motor?
That's his deal. That's what everybody knows him by.
I can't say I blame the guy. You know? I mean, really. What else are we doing to this thing besides changing the heartbeat with another heartbeat?
Chris and his wife go to car shows all over the country. They travel in this. They don't trailer it. They get in it and they drive this thing to ride good, look good when it's parked. Not only that, we need to build a bigger fuel cell for him, something that they don't have to stop every 200 miles and get fuel.
Gotcha.
They only want to stop when they want to stop, not when they have to stop.
All right, so let me chase down a previously loved GM power plant.
You do that, we're going to rip the front end off, get the motor and trans out, and we'll let you know if we need anything else.
Let's do it.
Wait on you, man.
You know, that old suspension didn't age well. Jamie and Ryan are going to cut all that out and make room for that new air suspension, adding a notch on the frame for that rear end.
Wow, so no wonder this guy was having a bumpy ride. Looks like they cut the springs and put these little tensioners in there. That's a quick fix. So I actually grew up in a household with my dad. He was in the hot rods, and he's got nothing but old Fords, and every one of them has big block Chevrolets in them. So this is really common for me. This is kind of childhood right here with a Chevrolet motor and a Ford. Pretty familiar. But man, it looks pretty clean under here.
Yeah, dude, it's not too bad actually.
See why we want to change this out. It's pretty small.
It is pretty small.
Yeah.
You really don't see those mufflers no more. That's cool that he went his own little route with it.
Yeah.
Let's tear it all apart, man.
Let's do it. Okay, so we got everything cut out of our 40 Ford right here. So our next step is go ahead and put the notch in. Basically, we got to make this off this notch, match the bottom of this door, so we're going to make sure everything looks parallel.
31 7/16
on the money. Then go ahead and tack it. Then do the same thing on the other side.
So now that we got our notch plates tacked in and everything is right where we want it, we're going to make all of our filler plates now. We want the structure there. So we'll put this, plate it, tack it in, and weld it all before we cut the centers out. You don't ever want to just put your notches in there and then cut it out right away because you have no structure and the frame could buckle, move all over the place, and do its own thing. So now I can go ahead and cut the center part out. I've just got to add some fillers, weld it out, and the notch is done. And that's how you knock out a notch.
Pulling out the old engine on the 1940 Ford, full front end is, and it's really bad. Man, I've been thinking about which way to go with this, and this just, we can't build around this.
Yeah.
No matter what we do, this is still going to be here.
Yeah.
We got to cut all this out of the way. Let's save this part of the frame.
Okay.
You know, go back in with the filler in here and make it look like it hadn't been touched. Like this part of the frame is brand new.
Right.
And then we'll start from there.
We'll
get our new cross member in here. Then we can put our engine in.
Everything that we got here is just complete crap. It's bent, it's old, it's poorly fabricated. It's not gonna work with what we're doing. So I'm gonna cut everything out and start from scratch.
You know, I'm looking at this frame and just seeing all the dead ends we're gonna hit. Every roadblock, every step down the way. There's just no saving it. You know, it's going to be best for us just to think totally outside the box and make something a lot better. Rebuilding the front of this frame is definitely going to make it a lot stronger and save us a whole lot of headaches in the future.
All right, everything's fit up, looking real good. It's just grind it all up and we'll be ready for our cross member. I need to grind this so I can get a good weld. Trying to get all these tacks did. So I got all the welding done. I'm just gonna grind these welds down. Once I'm done, these front horns will look brand new. And then we can move on to the cross member. Alright, I'm done. I'm going home.
Yeah, when I think of a ground up build like this 49 Caddy, I think from the ground up. Hand making a frame lets us personalize the vehicle totally to the person, bottom to the top. You know, it's a huge honor to get to build something for the legend Earl Campbell. You know, we build a lot of frames, but we're really gonna do what we can to make this special, you know, not only for Extensive, but for Earl himself.
Here's him running over everybody in the NFL. We're going to build a frame that strong.
Good. Now we have this all tightened down flat against the table. You can see we have a nice little gap in between the tubing. It looks like a bad fit, but you know, my preference is having that 3/16 gap in between each intersection of the tubing. That way we can weld that thing back and forth and not have to have a huge bevel or worry about penetration. Once this is welded, you know it's going to stay there forever. All right. All finished up with the vertical weld. We're going to let this thing cool off, then we can bust it apart, stand it, start building cross members. It's good. Still a little warm, man, but it'll be good. Let's do it. Because we make our parts on site, as soon as we think it, we start making it to the exact dimensions we need. You know, that's the total definition of custom. Immediate satisfaction. You know, Earl's car, we're going to be using a 2-link suspension, which is a 2x2 square tubing linked from the hanger to the axle. That's why it's called 1997. We've been using it on about 80% of our vehicles since day one. It's ideal for a car like Earl, so we can get it really low and still get a lot of lift out of it, and it improves the handling for about 85% over the factory also. So this is the perfect suspension for this job. You know, one thing pretty unique to the 2-link itself is we're still using U-bolts. It's still going to connect the U-bolts to the axle to hold this all super tight. You know, use a piece of DOM and we weld it onto the link bar itself, so we don't have a traditional little anchor plate at the bottom. Using the DOM to the side of the link bar, it keeps everything super tight and it adds a little style to it also. Cool, we got the link bars all mocked up. Now it's time to get underneath there and mock up the suspension. See if it fits now. Two links are in. Last little bit is making a cross member to hang the 2 links onto, and that holds the whole rear suspension of the car. After that, bag mounts, shock mounts, diagonal link, we're ready to put it under the car. We finished the metalwork on the custom chassis and suspension for the 49 Cadillac. We got the bag mounts in, link bars in, suspension's done other than shocks. Shoot, we're ready to put this thing in the car. Now we're going to connect the frame to the front cross member and the core support. You know, we got the frame all attached to the body back here, so we know it's not going to go anywhere. So the next step, let's run our string line so we know where the center is. That's definitely a little forward. Let's start putting our front cross member up here. Get that all centered level. We'll start building from there all the way back and tie it in and tie right into the front. It's a done ditty.
Now we have the right angles where they connect. What we're doing now is making it go from a 5-inch frame to a 3-inch frame on top of the cross member. So we're having to basically pie a section out of it. So now what we have here is we have this piece cut down to match the 5-inch frame and the 3-inch frame rail. So what we'll do is we'll put this cap on top. We'll weld the sides to the cross member. Now we have this all tacked into place. We'll finish welding it out. We'll sand it down with the big pad. You'll never know it was cut
transition from a 5-inch frame to a 3-inch frame and fit perfectly on the frame.
Step 198 complete. We got the front rails connecting to the cross member. Next step is weld this out. Then step 199 in the frame building process is connecting it to the core support mount part of the frame. So after that's done, frame's 100% complete. Just like the customer asked, we got that new Chevy engine for the 40 Ford.
Okay.
Because it's a new engine and trans, we just want to make sure this thing fits perfect. Got our engine in place. What should have been a quick air suspension job just turned into a full frame makeover, cutting out parts and pieces of the frame that should have never been damaged in the first place, building a new cross member, and just slicking the whole frame, making it look brand new. With all the metal work we done on this truck, the interior, I asked Keith to make it custom.
All right, we got the 44 door panel all shaped out. We've got all the foam work done. Now I just need to disassemble it, get it wrapped up. We're gonna use the same materials and do some sculpting, but still have to have modern hot rod type feel on this old truck. Try to cut it to where you're taking out the bulk of the material, but you can come back and trim later. But this is another technique that I do that most trimmers don't do. I just kind of bunch it up around the corners. I come in close, trim it with my knife. I melt the ends, and so it actually helps stick it down and gets rid of all these little bumps. I figured this method out myself. Now, we see we got this part wrapped. We'll move on to the other pieces. Down inside there. Just kind of stick it down, and then I try to manually, just with my hand, kind of tuck it in as much as I can. But then now you take this tool and just slowly run it through. Some people call these a no-sew pleat. I call it a heat roll. It's not like this process is super difficult. It's just paying attention to the details. It's the little things that make a difference. Anything I build, I try to put a lot of little details into. Out of the line, all the way down. This is where you have to have a steady hand. Most people don't feel comfortable doing this freehand. I don't feel comfortable with a straight edge. You can be very careful with this foam. It can just rip off a chunk out of nowhere sometimes. It'll make you mad enough to throw it across the room. All right, we got the base panel wrapped. Now what we're gonna do is take this cool material. Being that it's an older vehicle, I wanted to bring fabric into it instead of everything being a vinyl or leather. Looks great, man. It came out looking real good. I like the fabric in there, along with the black to tie into the rest of the vehicle. And it still has that old school feel to it, but it looks new. We get a lot of jobs in, sometimes in and out, sometimes take forever. This job was supposed to be engine, trans, air suspension, out the door. Well, some things snowball, and this is pretty much an avalanche. For starters, the master cylinder was all up underneath the bottom from the factory, so that's all in the way. The wiring just looks like a bird nest underneath here. There's no way to tie in our wiring to this and to make it reliable. We could hit a bump and short out everything underneath this thing. There's just problem after problem all in here. So we got to rip everything out and put everything in brand new. We didn't plan on working on the firewall, the trans tunnel, the floor on the 40 Ford. But we can't let this thing leave the shop looking like it did. We always expect the unexpected, but it always hurts.
Okay, that was the last of the wiring. The AC out, all the wiring, the column. So now this thing's not a trash wagon. We got all the garbage out of it. Next step I'm gonna do is go ahead and fill in all these holes in the firewall and make it beautiful again. Look at this. This is flimsy. This is not really good metal. So I'm gonna cut it out. What I'm doing right now is just making my rough template. Let's transfer this over to sheet metal. Once I do that, I can go ahead and trim, do what I need to do to get the piece to fit properly. Roll it, fill it in. Yeah, no, this is riddled. All this needs to go. Start from scratch, put fillet welds on them. I'm gonna make it nice and clean and smooth. Around these bigger holes, I'm going to make sheet metal fillets. Take care of this, make it look beautiful. We got this nice new motor in here. Make everything nice and clean.
All right, so the next step is to do the transmission tunnel. So we're gonna try to make this as low as possible and as small as possible. And go over to the shear, to the brake, bend it, and roll it, and twist it, and pinch it, and poke it. Sometimes you gotta dance on that metal. You gotta let it know who the real moneymaker is. The roll is like just dead on the money. So, probably gonna get some cardboard and a marker and make me a template and transfer it here to the tunnel and just start trimming and cutting and trimming. And cutting and trimming some more.
Looks nice.
Yeah, I gotta do some more cutting.
Well, trying to give the benefit of the doubt. Other side looks real good.
Got the transmission tunnel tacked into place. What I'm gonna do is just take some sheet metal, fill in this patch back a little bit on it, do a few other little patches here and there, and we're moving on.
How's it looking in here?
It's looking all right. Slowly stabbing away at this thing.
Man, it looks real good. It's mounted nice. No holes in the floor. I like that. It looks safe now.
Yeah.
So just make sure you got as much room as possible in here. We want the seat as far back as we can in this thing. The long trips that get old all cramped up.
No doubt.
So I know you got this.
Right on. Appreciate it. So I gotta scrape all this dynamite out of the way. That way I can get a clean surface so I can weld to. So I'm taking a few measurements, I'm making me some angles, get some bracketry in here.
And my grandfather told me one time that if someone else can do it, so can you. Sure. I've always took that with me and always push myself further and further. I want to always step it up some, do something different out of the box.
Yeah, that's the cool thing about working here. It's like every day we come in, it's like, oh, I was working on this truck yesterday.
Boom, you're over there.
We're over on this car now.
Everybody's got their own little niche. I pick up things from you, I pick up things from John, or we're working with Bill side by side.
Vice versa. It's a real team. Some people, they wake up every day and they go to that same cookie cutter job, doing the same exact thing every single day, that repetition. And it's just like, that's not for me. That desk job, cubicle, whatever it might be. I like this. I like this is me.
I agree.
When Chris drove up in his 1940 Ford, this thing looked in real good shape, but we ended up having to do a lot more metal work to the frame and the cab than we planned.
Just got the frame back from powder coat. Everything looks nice and gloss black. Took a lot of hard work for me and Ryan to get the frame to look like this. Everything looks good. All the welds look good. So now it's time to go ahead and put it all back together.
We're almost there. We're painting the dash, color matching the engine.
With this million clips. That looks good.
Fuel cell, new air suspension, and we definitely couldn't let him drive out missing the wiper blade. Not every easy job is easy. Sometimes the easy jobs just snowball into huge ones. This is a prime example. To get the job done right, sometimes it just takes a little extra work. In this case, a lot of extra work. I know when they see it, they're going to be super happy with what we've done. Today we're out in Old Town Spring. We're going to give Chris and Deborah their 1940 Ford back. Hey, what a great place, huh?
It's awesome.
Old Town Spring just gives you that old feel that just it just fits the truck, right?
Exactly. Perfect.
Well, let's check this thing out. I'm gonna get Ryan to bring it around right now.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, it looks fantastic.
Like the tail to ride.
Right?
Yeah.
Sounds perfect. Sounds perfect.
Plates crammed up in here, all inside to make patches on top of patches on top of patches on the floor.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
So we addressed all that to start with, replacing all the sheet metal. We got the new center console, repainted the dash, upgraded the gauges, got everything is all brand new. It's all 100% brand new. And of course, we got that other wiper blade on there.
Yes, definitely. Had to have that.
Thank you. As a passenger, thank you.
It's going to be fun riding.
It is. Right. It definitely is.
What Bill's done now is just amazing, and definitely something that will last, well, probably our lifetime.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Perfect.
Hope you guys have, many happy years with it.
Oh, yeah. I appreciate it.
I can tell by the look on their faces, this is definitely what they wanted. They just didn't even know it. With all that extra work involved, it's days like today that really pay off to make a customer a happy customer.
They left the back side on board with the heartbeat of a Chevy. That's us.
That's us.
Really appreciate that they took care of this truck like it was their own, and they made it better.
They dropped it to the floor. That was just amazing. Can't wait to get it on the road, put some miles on it, and win some trophies at some shows.
Back in the day, Earl Campbell was one of the best football players and the toughest that anybody's ever seen. We're going to get him an engine to this 49 Caddy that's up to his standards. A brand new LSX 454 with over 600 horsepower. Now that we've built a custom chassis, suspension, and fixed all the body, we got to make space for this engine. Man, this definitely isn't going to work. Well, the problem is, no room to mount our upper control arms. All this core support's in our way. I guess this is the old school crumple zone. So the best course of action, cut all this completely out of the way. You'll have more room for the radiator, have more room for the wheel, have more room for the upper control arm, have more room for the power steering lines. It's a win, 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 win. Then we'll go back in and weld some support back in this thing and make it look cool while we're doing it. Make everything way easier. That's it. Let's get to chopping. My specialty. This is a big build and then some. We definitely have our work cut out for us. As a kid, working on this build for the Earl Campbell. He's given a lot to this city. I think I'm speaking for all the guys at the shop. We cannot